Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Resident Evil. Activate the Magneto gene at the start. Chapter 81. No, it's Renee. Claire was still extremely cautious just now, when she heard Renee's scream again, no longer cautious, carrying the umbrella and rushing towards the voice. Woman. Chu Fong looked at Claire, who was completely different from front to back, and shook his head. Fortunately, Renee's voice was too sharp, which directly caused all the zombies to go in her direction, and there were no zombies ambushing along the way, otherwise, Claire would be in danger. The two followed the sound and moved forward quickly, and after a while, returned to the hall. At this time, they also finally saw Renee. At this time, Renee was hiding under the rows of benches, crawling around constantly. The zombies were blocked by rows of chairs, and it was not easy to catch Renee. But only temporarily. As the surrounding zombies gather more and more because of Renee's scream, Renee is also more and more dangerous. Ronnie. Seeing that Renee was in danger, Claire exclaimed. Some zombies heard Claire's voice and turned to look at Claire. Claire. Renee was overjoyed when she saw Claire, and wanted to crawl to Claire's side crying. Bang. However, the next moment, a zombie arm suddenly stretched out from the seat and grabbed Renee. Yeah. Seeing this, Renee hurriedly avoided and crawled back again. Hold on, I'm here. Chu Fong. The zombies in the hall are relatively sparse, and they move very slowly. As long as we rush quickly, we should be able to escape before the zombies are surrounded. Seeing Renee's crisis, Claire's mind changed. She directly estimated the situation on the spot, based on her experience in Raccoon City. The speed of the zombies is very slow. As long as she rushes fast enough, there is a good chance that she can rush to Renee's side before the zombies close. After all, she took the umbrella and rushed towards Renee. Chu Fong nodded and rushed forward. Roar. In front of him is a zombie rushing towards Claire. Bang. Claire smashed an umbrella directly at the zombie. Claire's strength is really not small. The umbrella was broken instantly, and the zombie was also staggered and fell due to the heavy blow. Claire seized the opportunity and continued to charge forward. Ho-a-ho. Two more zombies rushed up. Give me the steel pipe and I'll make the way. Claire spoke to Chu Fong. Give you. For this steel pipe, Chu Fong did not hesitate, and handed it to Claire directly. Claire took the pole, swung it at the two zombies in front of her. Don't say. Claire's skills are really good, and she only heard two bangs, and the two zombies were knocked to the ground by her in a blink of an eye. However, there are too many zombies around, and Claire's strength is not enough. The steel pipe can't hit the head, and is quickly caught by a zombie. Chu Fong, help. Seeing this, Claire was in a hurry. She was not as strong as a zombie. If she was entangled, it would be dangerous. She could only ask Chu Fong for help, hoping that Chu Fong could help her to get the steel pipe back together. Okay. Chu Fong seemed to have misunderstood what Claire meant. He heard Claire asking for help, and without thinking much, he took out a pistol from the storage space and fired directly at the zombie. Boom. The gunshots sounded, and the zombie holding Claire's body softened and fell down. At the same time, a system reward reminder also sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. What? You still have a pistol, why didn't you tell me earlier? Claire was stunned when she looked at the zombie whose head was shot by Chu Fong. She didn't expect that Chu Fong was still carrying a pistol, and she was surprised. She came all the way with Chu Fong, and she didn't see Chu Fong carrying a gun. You didn't even ask. Chu Fong shrugged. All right. Better to have a gun, give it to me. Claire didn't care why Chu Fong was carrying a pistol. Her marksmanship was done by killing zombies. I saw hope when I saw the pistol, and said to Chu Fong without hesitation. Give you. Chu Fong didn't hesitate and threw the pistol to Claire directly. He has a lot of guns, let alone asking for them, there is no problem with sending them directly. Crack. Claire grasped the pistol skillfully. Roar. A zombie rushed in, and Claire took aim instantly and opened fire. Boom. The zombie was instantly headshot. Hoo-hoo. Another two zombies rushed in. Boom. Claire still got two headshots. Ho-a-ho-ho. More zombies rushed towards her, and Claire opened fire frantically. Boom, 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 boom. Claire's marksmanship is extremely proficient, and every time he takes aim and shoots, he seems to be on the move. As for the zombies, she fired continuously, shot her head, and in a blink of an eye, she fell down zombies, which was indescribably heroic. Of course, at this time, Chu Fong was not idle either. Seeing that Claire had taken the pistol, without hesitation, he decisively took out another rifle from the storage space. Get ready for a big fight. Kakaka. It's cool to shoot zombies for a while, and it's fun to shoot all the time. But here comes the problem. Claire fired like this, and she quickly ran out of bullets in the pistol. Out of ammo. You, where did you get that rifle? Seeing that the pistol was out of ammunition, Claire wanted to ask Chu Fong if he still had bullets, but when he turned his head, he was completely dumbfounded. Chu Fong was holding a rifle and firing at the surrounding zombies. Rifle, pistol. Chu Fong may be hiding in his pocket, but what the hell is this rifle? What? Chu Fong turned back and asked with a puzzled look. He was shooting just now, and it was too loud to be heard. Hoo-hoo. Another few zombies rushed towards them. Give me the rifle, you reload. Seeing more zombies rushing over, Claire didn't have time to think about it, said. Oh, here you are. When Chu Fong saw that Claire wanted a rifle, he handed it to her directly. He has a lot of guns, and he doesn't care about this one at all. Claire deserves to be a woman who grew up under a lighthouse and experienced the crisis of Raccoon City. She is really good at controlling firearms. With a rifle in her hand, the combat power exerted is no weaker than that of a soldier. It took a few shots to bring down a zombie, and after a while, a path was cleared. Chu Fong was not idle either. Seeing that the place where they came in was about to be surrounded by zombies, he did not hesitate to directly take out a bazooka from the storage space and directly aimed at the closed zombies behind. Crack! Chu Fong pulled the trigger directly. Boom! A rocket flew directly from the rocket launcher and shot at the closed zombies. Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded, instantly blasting the closed zombies away. We have to hurry up, otherwise the zombies will close and we will, wow. Why do you still have a bazooka? Claire had just cleared a path with her rifle in front of her, worried that the zombies would close behind her, and was about to continue reminding Chu Fong to hurry up. However, the moment he turned back, he saw Chu Fong carrying the bazooka and launching it towards the closed zombies behind him. Startled, he exclaimed. She felt that the whole person was going crazy. How did Chu Fong do it? Why did he have a bazooka in the blink of an eye? Pistols can be put in trouser pockets, and rifles can be hidden in jackets, but your bazooka is exaggerating. Could it be that Chu Fong can still carry an arsenal on him? Helicopter above the airport. Infected people will attack others, anyone, without exception. A person who is bitten will attack others, without exception. Only by destroying the brain can the spread of the virus be stopped. Kakaka, the handsome Leon explained to Angela and Greg while checking the pistol. As a lighthouse state agent, Leon also experienced the Raccoon City case. As soon as the zombies at the airport appeared, he was immediately dispatched to take over the scene. So I know the weaknesses of zombies very well. Shooting the brain. Angela Shu, who was sitting across from her, frowned, with a blank expression on her face. Angela, who is a special response team, has never experienced a raccoon incident, and doesn't even know about zombies. Shoot in the head. Leon looked solemn and reminded again. Angela and Gray looked at each other silently, 387, and felt that this Leon was crazy. Where did the zombies come from in this world? Still headshots. Are you sure you are the agent sent from above, not the funny guy sent from above? Arrive. Leon looked at the roof of the airport below. Without hesitation, he slid down the rope skillfully. Crack. As soon as he got to the balcony, Leon loaded his bullets immediately and looked around vigilantly to prevent a sneak attack by zombies. Seeing that there was no danger, he walked towards the balcony door. Not to mention, that move was pretty cool. Angela and Greg also descended with the rope. Swish. Leon was very cautious. When he came to the door, he did not open the door immediately, but made many gestures to the two of them, instructing them to get ready, and then the door suddenly opened. As soon as the door opened, Leon immediately aimed his gun at the stairs. He didn't relax after seeing that there were no zombies below. He continued to aim down and gestured to let the people behind him come forward, and he would cover at any time. Angela and Greg at the back were also made very nervous by Leon, and they hurried forward to investigate. The three of them alternately covered and probed forward. It can be said that they were extremely cautious. No way, the zombies that Leon said were too scary. If they were really zombies made by the T-virus, then they couldn't relax for a moment. While the three of them were looking cautious, they suddenly heard a lot of gunshots coming from the hall. There are survivors, quick. When Leon heard the gunshots, without hesitation, he quickened his pace and walked towards the hall. In the hall, Chu Feng's rocket has really stabbed a hornet's nest. With such a big movement, it immediately attracted all the zombies around, and rushed towards everyone frantically. I already have a bazooka. What's wrong? Chu Fong was puzzled when he heard the words. Of course he has a bazooka, not to mention the police arsenal that was robbed in Red Bear City, and there are also a lot of gun shops robbed, not to mention that he has replenished a lot during this time. No wonder he has a bazooka. What's wrong? What did you say? Can you be more exaggerated? Claire felt bad all over. You suddenly took out a pistol, but you can still take out a rifle. Now you even have a bazooka. What are you talking about? Are you a magician? Can you make it more exaggerated if the weapon comes out when you say it? Exaggerate, yes. Chu Fong was worried about using too much strength to attack Claire. Unexpectedly, she took the initiative to ask him to show his strength. What are you waiting for? Shish, crack cack clap. In an instant, a large number of firearms appeared around Chu Fong, and there were thousands of them. Just looking at this battle makes one's scalp tingle. This weapon is more than just an arsenal. It can be equipped with an army at all. Boom. In an instant, thousands of weapons fired at the same time, and the terrifying bullets poured out like a torrent, shooting at the surrounding zombies. The zombies around were like harvested wheat, falling down one after another. And Chu Feng's mind is also popping up the system reward reminder. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill 10 ordinary zombies and get 100 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill 100 ordinary zombies and get 1000 points. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill 200 ordinary zombies and get 2000 points. Not long after, the hundreds of zombies around were wiped out by Chu Fong. And Chu Feng's points also increased to 5400 points. Although it is still far from the 100,000 points of the next upgrade, Chu Fong is still very happy. Shish! Seeing that the surrounding zombies were eliminated, Chu Fong waved his hand directly, and all the thousands of firearms were taken back into the storage space by him and disappeared into the air. Mumble, Chu Fong, who are you? Claire looked at Chu Feng's mouth slightly open, her beautiful eyes wide open, her face shocked and unbelievable. God, that's more than 500 zombies. Even in the heyday of Raccoon City, she couldn't do this. And Chu Fong actually did it. He even took out an arsenal and wiped out hundreds of zombies in an instant. Is this really a human? Claire originally thought that Chu Fong was just an ordinary person, but now she thinks about it. Chu Fong can predict the outbreak of virus zombies, dare to stop the crashed plane, can kill zombies with coins, and even pull out an arsenal. Where is he wholly, like you, a survivor of Raccoon City? Chu Fong did not hide his words. Good you Chu Fong, you hide so deep. You have such ability, why didn't you say it earlier? Claire looked at Chu Fong and said angrily. You didn't even ask. Chu Fong said innocently. Asshole, I won't tell you if I don't ask you. Just look at me like this and make a fool of myself. Claire was so angry that she greeted Chu Fong with a fistful of fists. This Chu Fong is too hateful, obviously so strong, and with so many weapons. In the end, he didn't say anything. Just watched her fight zombies with a broken umbrella along the way. Don't you think it's annoying? When she thought that Chu Fong was so strong, yet she kept protecting him as a weak chicken, her cheeks became hot. The fist under the hammer became more violent. Chu Fong reached out subconsciously and grabbed Claire's fist. Claire raised her head subconsciously, and the two eyes collided with each other at close range, as if a violent electric spark was aroused. Chu Fong found that Claire at this moment looked so beautiful and moving, and didn't think it was crazy. And Claire was also attracted by Chu Fong, looked at each other, but couldn't move her eyes. Chu Fong seemed to be full of secrets, the sense of mystery and unknown made her unable to extricate herself, and her heart beat faster. The two got closer and closer, Chu Fong could even hear Claire's breathing. Claire, Just as the two were about to collide, a strong flashlight struck down and shone on their faces. Leon's surprised voice appeared. Leon. Hearing the words, Claire raised her head and was stunned when she saw Leon and the others coming downstairs. She never thought that Leon, her former partner at a critical moment, would suddenly appear. Your boyfriend. Leon thought that rescue was needed here, but he never thought that he would bump into his old friend Claire here. What surprised him even more was that Claire was with a strange man. Ah, no, you misunderstood. This is Chu Fong, whom I just met today. Only then did Claire realize that she was still intertwining her fingers with Chu Fong at this time, and hurriedly let go of Chu Feng's hand, subconsciously panicking and explaining. She and Chu Fong just met today, how could it be that kind of relationship? Just really misunderstood. Understood. Steve has been gone for so long, it's time to start a new life, your daughter is lovely. Hearing Claire's explanation, Leon had an understanding expression on his face. He didn't believe that the two had just met, and when he saw Renee behind them, he showed a clear expression. Are the children that old? He didn't even know when he got married. Daughter. When Chu Fong and Claire heard the words, they turned their heads together, only to realize that Renee had already climbed out from under the bench. He was staring at a pair of cute big eyes and looked at the two of them curiously. That means 20 is like saying, go ahead. My father always kissed my mother like this. Chu Fong and Claire looked at each other with a feeling of wanting to cry but not tears. The misunderstanding was still unclear. What's going on here? Leon glanced at the zombie corpses around him with a puzzled look on his face. The death of these zombies is very strange, and they were all headshots. What's even more bizarre is that they also form a circle, as if caused by an army firing simultaneously from the middle. But the problem is that the center is Chu Fong and Claire. He is a colleague with Claire's brother, and he is an old friend with Claire again. Does he still not understand Claire's ability? Certainly not her. And even if an army came, it would not be possible to put it in such a small place to defend it. Such traces gave him a strange feeling. This is. When Claire heard the words, she was ready to explain. I don't know, that's what happened when we arrived. Seeing that Claire was about to speak, Chu Fong quickly interrupted. Both the umbrella company and the top executives of the lighthouse country are looking for him. He doesn't want to reveal his identity and cause unnecessary trouble. Ah, yes, that was already the case when we got here. Claire is not stupid. Chu Fong said so, just because he didn't want people to know his secret. So I didn't say more, and winked at Renee. That Renee is also well behaved, so she doesn't say anything. Okay, anyone else? Seeing that Claire didn't say anything, Leon didn't ask, and asked. There are two more people in the lounge. Claire thought of Davis and the female assistant, and pointed in the direction of the lounge. You two pay attention, I'm going to save people. Leon, who was also a daring artist, gave Angela and Greg an order and walked to the lounge. The zombies at the airport were basically cleaned up by Chu Fong, and Leon was naturally unimpeded all the way, and quickly brought the fat counselor and female assistant out. Everyone kept going all the way and went directly to the gate of the airport. Boom. As soon as Chu Fong and others arrived at the door, the violent spotlight hit everyone's face directly. Kakaka. Rows of soldiers were already standing by, and they all aimed their guns at them. Finally out. I am here. am coming out. When Davis saw this, not only was he not afraid, but he was happy, raising his hands and shouting continuously. He is a senator, and he has a lot of face, and someone must recognize him. Sure enough, several soldiers saw that it was the senator who came out, and assigned a few people to come forward to help. Action. The other soldiers saw that the main rescue target had escaped, and without hesitation, they rushed into the airport and began to eliminate the zombies. Of course, they didn't know that there were actually no more zombies in the airport. Basically, they were wiped out by Chu Fong. Chu Fong and others ignored the soldiers' actions and walked out. Renee. At this moment, outside the barbed wire, an old woman from the White Elephant country shouted loudly. Aunt. Seeing this, Renee couldn't bear it any longer and rushed towards the barbed wire. A person wearing a protective suit quickly stepped forward and pulled her to prevent any physical contact between the two. This is AT virus, and it is dangerous if it spreads. My God, how are you? The old woman was very excited and wanted to go forward, but was stopped by someone outside. I was scared to death, it was full of monsters, Renee said while crying. Call. Seeing the adoptive mother and daughter meet, Claire relaxed. Her mission is also complete. Thank you, without you, it would be difficult for them to see each other again. Claire turned to look at Chu Fong, grateful. Chu Fong nodded and accepted Claire's thanks. Not long after, Chu Fong, Claire and others were taken to the tent for inspection. Boom boom boom. At this moment, several trucks with the print of Will Pharmaceuticals drove in directly. What the hell is going on here? How did the Will Pharma drug get here? Claire was stunned when she saw the trucks. Now the whole Beacon country is boycotting Will Pharmaceuticals, and now the company's drugs are here. Didn't they take over the umbrella company to study the T-virus? It is estimated that they did this attack, and now they are still sending medicines. What are you thinking of? This is the T-virus vaccine. A gentle middle-aged man appeared behind Claire and said. You are. Claire saw the puzzled look on the visitor's face. Let me introduce. He is the chief researcher of Will Pharmaceuticals, Frederick, who is developing the vaccine against the virus, the kind you are particularly familiar with. Davis also came out from behind the tent next to him and opened his mouth to explain. Is it the zombie virus that was infected in the hall? Claire asked suspiciously. Do you think it was planned by Will Pharma? It's ridiculous. Vaccination, that's what they're researching, ways to prevent the spread of zombies. For Claire's doubts, Davis explained with a mocking expression. The meaning is obvious, we are good people, not bad people. See, no, we're not working on T-viruses, we're working on antidote. Is this, am I guessing wrong? Claire was dumbfounded after hearing what Davis said. If it was really planned by Will Pharmaceuticals, how could they possibly study the T-virus vaccine? Also send them here. Could it be that she wronged the company? Is this company really not researching the T-virus, but a vaccine? You guessed right, they did it. Just when Claire thought that he had wronged Will Pharmaceuticals, Chu Fong, who was beside him, said with certainty. What nonsense are you talking about? If we did it, how could we possibly have sent the vaccine? And I'm also a victim. If I really did it, do you think I'd be stupid enough to run into the airport? When Davis heard Chu Feng's words, he felt a little stunned. He secretly thought that it was not good. Did Chu Fong know about their plan? But it's impossible. Who is Chu Fong? How could he possibly know their secret? What happened? Leon just got on the phone with the above and learned some possible inside stories. Seeing that there was a quarrel here, he quickly came to check. Not only him, but Angela also heard the sound and walked over. The senator said that Will Pharma was here to deliver the vaccine, and we suspect there is something wrong. Seeing Leon coming over, Claire said. It is true. Leon had just spoken on the phone with the above, he knew something about this matter, and he said affirmatively. You know, Claire was stunned when she heard the words, and asked in doubt. Now she is a little bit confused. Leon said there is no problem, and Chu Fong said there is a problem. Now, she can't tell whether there is a problem with this Will Pharmaceutical. It stands to reason that there are people above Leon who should know more, but Chu Fong made several predictions in a row, and he said everything. So she can't deny Chu Feng's statement, not to mention that Chu Feng's statement is closer to her speculation. But the question is, if the senator did it, why was he there? This makes absolutely no sense. Yes, just didn't know it would be so fast to use the application. The opponents are spreading the T-virus, so President Beacon will allow them to secretly develop a vaccine for the T-virus to deal with the destruction of the opponents. Leon told the news he got. He did get the news, but he didn't expect it to move so fast. Maybe because of the attack. The T-virus vaccine is the medical resource of the Beacon country, and it can be purchased anywhere in the whole Beacon country within 24 hours. Frederick also spoke up. My God, it's all our fault for saying that. Claire felt a little remorse after listening to Frederick's words. She is actually one of the opponents of Will Pharmaceuticals, but she just thought they were studying the T-virus, so she opposed it. Now it seems that the opponents are the source of the spread of the virus, and Will Pharmaceuticals, which they oppose, is the savior of the Beacon nation. I don't want to argue with you on this. How about it, Orientals? You are mistaken, we are good people who bring hope to the world. Davis saw that their suspicions were cleared by Leon and they became the savior of the people. He was very happy and proud. When Claire, Leon, and Angela heard the words, they all acquiesced. Opponents unleashed the virus, and the suspected Will Pharma came up with a vaccine to save the people, and they were not wrong to say they were good people. Even Claire, who always felt that there was something wrong with Will Pharmaceuticals, had to admit that they really had nothing to doubt. Really, I don't think so. Faced with the factual evidence presented by Davis and Frederick, most people would have believed them. However, Chu Fong is different. He is a traveler and can see the world through the perspective of God. The conspiracies of the two had nowhere to hide in front of him. What do you mean? Don't tell me, even now, you still suspect that I did this thing. You don't even think about it. I really did it. Would I be so stupid to involve myself in it? Seeing Chu Feng's sarcastic look, Davis got angry and said, "Yeah, if the congressman did it, how could he himself be involved in the zombie apocalypse at the airport? Why did he do this?" Claire, Leon, and Angela couldn't find the reason why Davis was in such danger, and they all thought that Chu Fong, the opponent, was too firm and ignored the facts. You have a lot of stock in Will Pharma, and if you keep the protesters going, you're done. However, if the T-virus can be released first, the zombies can be made, and then the company will send out the vaccine, then the stock of Will Pharma will rise sharply. So you say, who will be the beneficiaries? Senator Davis. Chu Fong looked at Davis and said word by word, "Shish." For a moment, Claire, Leon, and Angela looked at Davis. If Davis really holds a large amount of Will Pharmaceutical stock, then he has the motive to take risks. It's possible that he did this. How do you know I have a lot of stock? Hearing this, Davis exclaimed. He never thought that this Chu Fong would know that he owns a large number of shares in Will Company. This is hell. But the moment the words came out, he immediately realized that he had leaked his mouth, and quickly covered his mouth. It's really you. When Claire heard the words, why didn't she understand that this guy really sent someone to do it? He has stocks and a motive for committing the crime. You nonsense. If I really want to improve the stock, it is impossible to entrust the opponents, they are all people who want my life. Davis tried to make the last struggle. In fact, he was speechless himself. He did not expect this matter to be so big. His original intention was to release a few, and then take the opportunity to launch a T-virus vaccine to restore the reputation of Will Pharmaceuticals. I didn't expect this to be a disaster for the entire airport. But now it's just an excuse for him to shirk. Indeed, if you just want to use the T-virus for advertising, you only need to release a small part of it. There is absolutely no need to hand the T-virus into the hands of opponents, and even passenger planes are also involved, causing such a catastrophe. Leon frowned and analyzed. Although Davis had a motive for releasing the virus, the motive for releasing the virus on such a large scale doesn't make sense. Frederick on the side felt bad. This Chu Fong, I don't know where it came from, how does he know everything? Or run away quickly, so as not to let the fire burn yourself. That's because he was also sold, and his original intention was to create a small-scale infection and advertise the T-virus vaccine, but unfortunately another person didn't think so. I said yes. Frederick. Chu Fong looked at Frederick, who kept retreating and wanted to get away. Ha! In an instant, Claire, Leon, and Angela all looked at Chief Researcher Frederick. Even Davis looked at Frederick. He felt that something was wrong. Let you infect a few people, and you actually brought in a plane of zombies, didn't this kill him? Good money, Zhao. Now it's your turn to explain it to me. Oriental, I don't know what you're talking about. As you said, a small release of the virus can serve the purpose of promoting a T-virus vaccine. Why would I make it on such a large scale? Of course, Frederick would not admit it himself, but refuted Daoyu. Yeah, you also said that it can be achieved on a small scale. He doesn't need to do it. Isn't that killing the senator? Angela on the side listened to Frederick's words and felt that Chu Feng's reasoning was untenable. One of them is the chief researcher and the other is a special advisor. It is not surprising that the two of them joined forces to create this virus in order for the stock to rise. But the question is, if Frederick is so big, wouldn't that kill the big shareholder, the senator? How does this benefit him? Not at all. Claire and Leon also looked puzzled. This thing can't be explained. Even Davis was puzzled. He also thought that Frederick did the hands and feet, but he and Frederick were grasshoppers on a rope. He couldn't figure out why Frederick wanted to expand the situation. It's very simple. Frederick never thought of selling the T-virus vaccine to make money from the beginning, but planned to sell the virus. So he needs a big experiment to prove the horror of this virus. Don't Will Pharma have a lot of opponents? They are the best executives. As long as he sells them some T-virus, those opponents will naturally attack, and the whole airport crisis will be his bargaining chip. I said yes. Frederick. Seeing that Frederick was still struggling to the death, Chu Fong raised the corner of his mouth and continued to speak. Frederick himself never thought of making money through vaccines, and Will Pharmaceuticals has so many opponents, it is simply impossible for this company to make money from selling T-viruses. Instead of spending energy to manage this company that was under attack, it is better to directly push the company and sell it to others. Of course, he himself said that the T-virus is so powerful that others do not believe it. It needs to be proved. This is also why he will directly sell the T-virus to opponents and let him spread it freely. The bigger the momentum, the better. This is a super advertisement for him to sell T-virus. Suck. When Claire, Leon, and Angela heard the words, they all gasped. It was the first time they had seen someone as ruthless as this Frederick. To advertise to sell T-virus and create such a large-scale zombie crisis, this is simply a beast. Even Davis was sweating down his spine. At this moment, he finally knew that he had been tricked by this Frederick. He had never planned to make money with him from the beginning, but planned to make money by himself. He was taken advantage of and almost died at the airport without knowing it. You are talking nonsense. These are all your inferences. Do you have any evidence? Without evidence, you are slander, and I can sue you. Frederick was completely panicked when Chu Fong explained everything. He didn't understand how Chu Fong knew everything about him. What he did was so secretive, and even Senator Davis, who was with him, was toyed with and applauded by him. And Chu Fong, an Oriental man who appeared out of nowhere, was unbelievable. But he is not so easy to admit defeat. What if Chu Fong knew all his plans? Without proof, everything is only cafe inference. Can Chu Fong produce evidence? He couldn't get it out. Shish. In an instant, Claire, Leon, Angela and Davis all looked at Chu Fong. Frederick is right, these are all the inferences of Chu Fong. Reality is about evidence. You, Chu Fong, said that he betrayed the company, sold the T-virus to foreign countries, and created the airport incident. Do you have any evidence? Evidence, isn't it over there? Chu Fong heard that Frederick still didn't give up, and wanted evidence. He pointed to the trucks with the T-virus vaccine and said. In an instant, Claire, Leon, Angela and Na Davis were all speechless. That's the T-virus vaccine. Frederick provides a life-saving vaccine. The only thing it can prove is that Frederick is a good man. You, Chu Fong, said he was the final boss, but the evidence you showed was that he was a good man. Is Chu Fong crazy? Ha 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 ha. Your name is Chu Fong, right? I admit that your reasoning just now is very exciting, but I'm glad you finally proved my innocence. Frederick was really scared just now that Chu Fong could really show evidence that he was the big villain behind the scenes. Then he must die. However, Chu Fong pointed to those vaccines as evidence. That vaccine can only prove that he is a good man, a great man. Then what is he afraid of? This Chu Fong, after all, was just an unintentional inference, which just happened to be the same as his conspiracy. Chu Fong, don't make a fuss, he took out the vaccine, it can only prove his heart to help the victims, are you mistaken? Claire pulled Chu Fong, indicating that if Chu Fong has any other evidence, he can show it. Your evidence can only prove that he is a good man. Have I said the evidence is a vaccine? Just when everyone thought Chu Fong was crazy, Chu Fong looked at everyone and said calmly. What? The moment Frederick heard that Chu Fong said that it was not a vaccine, his body trembled, and he looked at Chu Feng's face with fear. What happened to this man? Does it mean that he really knows everything? Does he even know what's under his car? This is impossible. You guys, go and search the entire vehicle to see if there is anything unusual. Leon is worthy of being a special agent and has the fastest response. Chu Fong is referring to the vaccine in the car. If there is no problem with the vaccine, then the problem must be in the car. Yes, several soldiers were ordered to quickly search the vehicles. Frederick's forehead was sweating and his eyes were rolling. He felt like he should go after he got the airport data. Well now, stuck in. It's a bomb. There are bombs here too. Get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. The soldiers quickly found the bomb that Frederick had planted under the car, and without any hesitation, they immediately rushed out. Running to an open area where no one was there, he threw it out without hesitation. Beep beep, boom, boom. After the time bombs were thrown out, they exploded quickly, setting off a huge shock. At this moment, everyone understood what the evidence Chu Fong said was. It's those bombs. If Frederick was really kind enough to send the vaccine, why put a bomb on it? Apparently, he had no intention of vaccinating the survivors at the airport from the T-virus from the outset. He is the biggest hidden boss of this event. Don't move, none of you are allowed to move, or I'll kill her. Seeing that Frederick could no longer hide it, while everyone was attracted by the explosion, he took out a pistol from his waist, held Claire hostage, and said coldly to the people around him. Shish. Leon and Angela also drew their guns at Frederick almost at the same time. Put down your arms, you can't escape. Leon stared at Frederick and said coldly. He was a little regretful and arrogant. He thought he could subdue Frederick at any time with his skills, but he didn't expect that he would carry a gun. He also held Claire hostage, which was a problem. I can't escape, and she has to be buried with her. Step back and put the gun down. Frederick looked at everyone with a ferocious expression and was very emotional. Leon and Angela had no choice but to put down their guns and slowly back away. However, one of these people did not retreat, but walked slowly towards Frederick. This person was none other than Chu Fong. According to the normal plot, Frederick almost killed Claire in the first place, and now with him by his side, how could such a thing happen? Chu Fong looked at Frederick as if he was looking at a dead person, and the woman he was looking at dared to threaten. I said, stand back. Or I'll kill her. I know your relationship, I can see the look she looks at you, you don't want her dead. Seeing that Chu Fong continued to step forward even under his threat, Frederick was angry. He put the muzzle directly on Claire's temple and threatened. Although Frederick didn't know what relationship Chu Fong had with this Claire. But as the manipulator behind him, he still has an eye for people. He could see that Claire's gaze towards Chu Fong was not like an ordinary person's, indicating that the relationship between the two was not ordinary. Using her to threaten Chu Fong would be the best. However, he didn't know how ridiculous it was to use a gun to threaten someone who controlled the electromagnetic force. Chu Fong, leave me alone, this fool has killed so many people, he must not be allowed to run away. Claire didn't want to let the biggest hidden conspirators escape because of herself. If he is allowed to escape, he will surely sell the T-virus. At that time, life will be wiped out. Shut up, if you dare to say more, I'll shoot you. Frederick hurriedly yelled when he saw that Claire was more difficult to control than he thought. Then you shoot. Chu Feng's electromagnetic force field unfolded all over his body, directly covering the surrounding 100 meters, and looked at Frederick with a mocking expression. What did you say? You don't care about her? Frederick was stunned when he heard the words. He thought that Claire cared about Chu Fong, and Chu Fong must also care about Claire. However, what he didn't expect was that his threat was exchanged for Chu Feng's ruthless sentence, you shoot. Could it be that he kidnapped the wrong person? Not only Frederick, but also Leon was stunned. Isn't this Chu Fong Claire's man? What's the situation? His friend has put down his gun, why does Chu Fong not care about Claire's life or death? Claire was also stunned. Although she hoped that Chu Fong would not care about her life and death, in fact, she still cares about Chu Fong very much in her heart. Hearing Chu Fong say this, even though she asked for it, she still felt a little uncomfortable. Of course I do. Chu Fong did not hide his emotions and said. Claire, who was originally in a low mood, heard Chu Fong say that she cared about her, and her eyes lit up. For some reason, a sweetness appeared in her heart. Turns out he still cares about me. Ah, then you let me shoot, you're playing with me. Go to hell. Frederick was already out of control when Chu Fong revealed the conspiracy, but now Chu Fong dares to play him. Frederick couldn't bear it any longer. He moved the gun away and pulled the trigger directly at Chu Fong. No. Seeing that Chu Fong was in danger, Claire desperately broke free from Frederick's restraint and blocked the muzzle of the gun that shot at Chu Fong. Chu Fong saved her life. She also saved Chu Feng's life, and then Chu Fong saved her, and now she is ready to save Chu Fong again. It was unclear who the two owed whom, but she couldn't watch Chu Fong die in front of her. She would rather die if she could. Crack. However, the imaginary scene of Claire being shot down did not happen. After Frederick pulled the trigger, it got stuck and no bullet came out. Frederick was stunned. He didn't expect this well-maintained gun to get stuck. Crack. Frederick pulled again, but the pistol didn't fire. This is impossible. Frederick was sweating on his forehead, and he felt like he was going crazy. He didn't understand what happened to him today and why he was so unlucky. It's okay to meet a nemesis like Chu Fong, but the well-maintained pistol is still stuck at a critical moment. Claire is not easy to mess with. Seeing that Frederick's shots were unsuccessful several times, he didn't hesitate, grabbed Frederick's arm and threw it over his shoulder. Bang! Frederick thought he was holding a weak girl, but he didn't expect this girl to be so violent. He was thrown directly to the ground, almost out of breath. Seeing this, Leon cooperated tacitly, rushed up immediately, and twisted Frederick's hand behind his back. Then, Angela threw a pair of handcuffs directly. Crack! Leon took the handcuffs and handcuffed Frederick directly. Chu Fong originally planned to kill this Frederick, but he did not think that he would be dealt with by Claire. Sure enough, Claire is no ordinary girl. Am I being too violent? Seeing Chu Fong looking at her in a daze, Claire thought that Chu Fong disliked her for being too violent. No, that's fine. Chu Fong was stunned, but did not expect Claire to have such a gentle side. However, her character is very gentle, but she is stronger when fighting. Claire is so good. Chu Fong adjusted Claire's messy clothes and said with concern, "Do you know how dangerous the move just now is? Don't block bullets indiscriminately next time." Chu Fong was very moved by the scene that Claire had just sacrificed herself to save him. In fact, he did not expect that Claire would risk her life for him. But he didn't want Claire to take risks for him. Aha! Claire nodded surprisingly obediently. "No, Chu Fong, I won't let you go." Even if he was handcuffed, Frederick still shouted angrily, wishing he could rush over and strangle Chu Fong to death. He was in control of everything, and prosperity and wealth were waiting for him. But when Chu Fong revealed the conspiracy, he was not reconciled. "Take him down." Leon waved his hand, signaling the soldiers to take the culprit down. Yes, the soldier took the order, and led Frederick out. "Is this gun bad?" Leon reached out to pick up the pistol that Frederick had dropped, wanting to check what was going on. Chu Fong narrowed his eyes, and an electromagnetic force field covered the past. Bang! Ding ding ding! Puff! As soon as Leon picked up the pistol suddenly went off, the bullet hit the car next to it, then bounced back to the telephone pole, and then bounced out. How come? Frederick yelled that Chu Fong was high, and was startled when he heard the gunshots behind him. When he turned around, a bullet sank directly into his forehead. Frederick's eyes were wide open until he died, and the hapless Frederick didn't understand what was going on. What just happened? I don't know. He was killed suddenly. Leon, you killed someone. What murder? The prisoner wanted to escape and was shot dead on the spot. Those who escorted Frederick were stunned, and they never thought that the prisoner would be killed suddenly. And the person who fired the shot was Leon, an agent sent from above. But do they dare to provoke them here? That is the man who directly obeys the president. So I just found a reason and fell on Frederick. Anyway, this scum is dead, and no one cares about what he says. Senator, do you know who Frederick was looking for to spread the T-virus? When Leon saw that Frederick was dead, he was going to interrogate, but the clue was interrupted directly, and he turned to Davis. He did it all. How do I know? I didn't even know he found an outsider. Davis looked bewildered. He admitted that he did want to spread the virus and then provide a vaccine to revive Will Pharma's stock. But it was all Frederick's doing, and he himself was put together and nearly died at the airport. He really didn't know about this. That would be troublesome. If the spreader can't be found, there may be a second, third time. Unfortunately, Frederick is dead, otherwise we can know who the spreader is from his mouth. Angela on the side sighed and said, originally, they could ask Frederick who he had dealt with and who spread the virus. This can avoid a second zombie crisis. But now that Frederick is dead, their lead is broken. Everyone thought for a long time without a clue. Chu Fong, Do you know who spread the T-virus? Claire on the side thought that Chu Fong had reminded her at the airport that there was a zombie crisis at the airport. Claire guessed that Chu Fong should know who Frederick was dealing with to spread the T-virus, so he asked. Of course I know, Chu Fong said truthfully. Ah, no you don't say it. Angela raised her eyebrows when she heard the words, her beautiful eyes widened, and she said angrily to Chu Fong. Didn't you see that they were all devastated for the next wave of attacks? Now that you know, why are you standing there watching them anxiously? This is too much. You didn't ask. Seeing Angela's anger, Chu Fong said calmly. He knows a lot about the plot of this world. You didn't even ask him. I can't let him babble and tell the secrets of the future when he sees it. Don't be considered crazy. Quote. Angela was almost choked to death by Chu Feng's words. What Chu Feng said was really okay. They analyzed and deduced by themselves, and they really didn't ask him. Officer Angela, don't be impulsive, calm down. Seeing Angela's anger rising, Claire quickly grabbed her. She could understand Angela's mood very well. It turned out that she was almost killed by Chu Fong. Chu Fong was obviously too powerful. He didn't say anything if she didn't ask, and kept watching her fight zombies with an umbrella. Now Chu Fong knows who Frederick is dealing with and who the spreader is. They discussed it by themselves over there, without asking him, and he didn't say anything. She could understand Angela's mood. Chu Fong, who is the spreader this time? Claire asked after seeing Angela calm down. Curtis. Chu Fong didn't hide it, and said. What? It's impossible, what nonsense are you talking about? Angela, who had calmed down originally, heard that she was going to rush towards Chu Fong again and spoke angrily. Angela, calm down. Leon didn't expect that Curtis Angela would be so restless, and pulled her back. Just now, Chu Fong was able to find out the mastermind behind the whole incident, Frederick, so he shouldn't talk nonsense. There must be some basis for Chu Fong to say so. He didn't understand why Angela was so impulsive. Calm down, Curtis is my brother. Seeing Leon pulling her, Angela said. She felt that Chu Fong was deliberately making trouble with her family. Just now they didn't ask, Chu Fong didn't say anything. Now she said it, but she was talking about her brother. Isn't this nonsense? Curtis is her brother, how could the murderer she is chasing after is her own brother? Possible. I bumped into him when the first wave of chaos broke out at the airport. Claire on the side heard what Chu Fong said about Curtis, and immediately remembered that she had bumped into that Curtis during the first wave of chaos at the airport. Curtis is one of the leading opponents. He made a deal with Frederick and got the T-virus, which doesn't seem to be a problem. And he was at the scene at the time, and the suspicion was undoubtedly very large. In this way, Chu Feng's words are very credible. I knew, it must be him, and he was one of the diehards of the new research facility. Davis, who was on the side, directly agreed with the words. My brother wouldn't do such a thing. Angela affirmed. That was her own brother, and she didn't believe he would do such a thing. He was arrested for threatening Will Pharmaceuticals. He simply demanded that the truth be made public. Unfortunately, others don't see it that way. If he's not a terrorist like you said, why don't you bring him here? Let him say it himself. Go now. 0 inches. Angela and Senator Davis directly quarreled over whether Curtis was a spreader. Angela is adamant that her brother did this because Curtis just wanted Will to reveal the truth. And Davis insisted that Curtis did it, because he was the fiercest among the opponents. If Angela believed that his brother was all right, why not bring him in and ask? Humph. Angela was annoyed, but could not prove her brother's innocence. She turned and walked towards the equipment car. She doesn't believe that her brother is that kind of person. She will go to him now and ask to understand. After all, she directly hung all kinds of pistols, rifles, and body armor on her body. Do you think it's appropriate to bring so much equipment to meet your brother? Seeing Angela bringing so much equipment and preparing to leave, Leon was a little worried. Boom. Angela didn't speak. She closed the car door forcefully, her eyes showing determination. If it wasn't for her brother, she would give him his innocence. If so, she will capture him with her own hands. Let's go. There's nothing wrong with us. Chu Fong didn't want to get involved in Angela's family affairs. Seeing her leaving, he pulled Claire and was about to leave. Wait a minute, you said my brother has a problem, you have to go with us. If you're right, it's really him, and I'll arrest him with my own hands. If I find out that you framed him, I will never let you go. Just as Chu Fong was about to leave, Angela stopped Chu Feng's path and spoke viciously. Originally her brother was fine, but now you drag him in and you want to leave. No way. You sure? Chu Fong was stunned when he heard the words and looked at Angela. Angela had no idea what it meant to let him go. To be honest, Chu Fong is also quite sympathetic to Curtis. A crisis broke out in Raccoon City, and his wife and children died. After leaving alive, the truth of Raccoon City has been concealed. Like Alice, Matt, and Jill, he just wants to reveal the truth about Raccoon City. Instead, he was used by others and became a chess piece. Chu Fong knew that he would inject the G-virus and turn into a monster. Chu Fong will definitely get a lot of points for killing him, but he admires people like Curtis and doesn't want to get this wave of points. Sure, Angela nodded and affirmed. Then what are you still doing? Let's go. When Chu Fong saw Angela as his sister, he didn't worry about his brother being killed by him. What should he worry about? Get on the bus first, you're welcome, and sit directly in the driver's seat. You know where my brother is and you're leaving. Angela was stunned when she heard the words, watching Chu Fong twitching. What is the situation of this Chu Fong? He was not willing to leave just now, but now he is so active. And, do you know where my brother lives? You're leaving. I don't know, but I know, he's definitely not where you think he is now. Chu Fong affirmed. According to the plot, Curtis should have burned down his cabin and went to the headquarters of Will Company to grab the G-virus. At this time, if they went to Curtis's residence, it basically didn't make any sense. That being the case, don't waste your time and go directly to the headquarters of the Will Company. You know that. Then where do you think my brother is now? Angela was stunned. Diao. Where is her brother and her sister doesn't know, do you know? You think, what would you do if you were the survivors of Raccoon City and wanted to uncover the truth about Raccoon City? Chu Fong looked at Angie 20 and Leon, rolled his eyes, and said. Will Pharmaceuticals. Angela and Leon are not stupid, but very smart people. When Chu Fong reminded him, he immediately understood and spoke almost simultaneously. Boarding. Chu Fong said no more, and motioned for the two to get in the car quickly. I'll go as well. Seeing that Chu Fong was leaving, Claire prepared to follow. Claire, it's dangerous there. Seeing that Claire was going to follow, Chu Fong refused directly. Quote. No but, listen to me. All right, Claire wanted to follow, but Chu Fong felt that it was too dangerous and didn't want Claire to follow him to take risks, so he decisively refused. There is no room for negotiation on this matter. Although Chu Feng's attack power is strong, his defense power is weak. In case of an explosion, it is very likely that he will not take care of Claire. So it's best not to let her go. Seeing this, Claire could only nod her head in agreement. Boom. The car started, carrying Chu Fong, Angela and Leon on the road. Soon disappeared from the road. No, we can't let Chu Fong take risks alone. Claire returned to the tent and thought about it, but she still couldn't worry about Chu Fong. After hesitating for a while, in the end, he couldn't rest assured. He grabbed a car and chased after Chu Fong and the others. Chu Fong was not familiar with Angela and Leon, and this incident also involved Angela's brother, so the three did not speak along the way. The atmosphere at the scene was very depressing. Look there is fire. Leon was sharp-eyed, and soon saw a fire on the outskirts of the city. That direction seems to be where my brother lives. Quick, turn. Angela looked at the firelight with anxiety in her eyes, and immediately wanted Chu Fong to turn around and head to Curtis's residence. No, keep going to Will Pharmaceuticals, there's a fire there that he's burning down his house. Chu Fong was right, he must have gone to Will Pharma. If we pass now, we will be behind him instead. Quote. Leon directly rejected Angela's proposal. If there is no fire there, they can still go and see. But just because there is a fire over there, it means that Chu Feng's inference is correct. Curtis must have gone to Will Pharma, or he would not have burned down his residence. It seems that he is determined to capture the G-virus. While speaking, Leon glanced at Chu Fong and frowned. Dread appeared in his eyes. He found that this Chu Fong was definitely not as simple as Claire's boyfriend. This person easily solved the behind-the-scenes truth about the zombie crisis at the airport. Pulled out that Frederick. In just a few more words, Curtis's trace was closely guessed. If he didn't know in advance, then this person's reasoning ability would be terrifying. Such people are fine if they are friends, but if they are enemies, they are in danger. Squeak. Not long after, the car came to the front of Will Pharmaceuticals. A roadblock stopped the car directly. Bump over. Angela cared about her brother and said directly. Bang. As soon as Chu Fong stepped on the accelerator, the car hit the railing directly. Beep beep. A large number of sirens sounded directly throughout the gate. A heavy metal gate fell directly, and the entire entrance was about to be sealed. Not good. This is what happened. Leon didn't expect that the door of this company looked very ordinary, and there were hidden secrets inside. As soon as the alarm is triggered, it will be locked immediately. As far as this heavy metal door is concerned, it is estimated that even the explosives may not be able to break open. This wave is careless. Then what? Angela was also in a hurry. If the door was closed, they would be trapped at the door, and it was not certain whether they could leave the door, let alone enter the interior. Let me do it. Seeing this, Chu Fong said lightly. You come. Leon and Angela looked at each other with a puzzled look on their faces. The alarm has been triggered and the explosion-proof door has fallen. Could it be that Chu Fong can't be forced to open it? Open the door. Chu Fong waved his hand at the huge explosion-proof metal door, and the electromagnetic force field unfolded, directly forcing the movement of the internal organs. Crack. Although the siren was still blaring, the door that had been closed was slowly closed. What's the matter? The siren is still ringing, but the gate is really open. Seeing that the door that was locked was opened immediately after Chu Feng's words, Angela's eyes widened with shock and disbelief. For a large company like Will Pharmaceuticals, or a company that develops T-virus vaccines, security is not weak. Ordinary people simply cannot force it. However, Chu Fong opened the door with such a light sentence, and the door of the strongest security opened by himself. This is too much fun. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, and Jiera would not have believed it was true. Chu Fong, who the hell are you? Leon looked at Chu Fong with a solemn expression. It would be understandable if Chu Fong used some hacking techniques to get in. But Chu Fong just said to open the door, and the door of the strongest security of Will Pharmaceuticals will automatically open, which is an exaggeration. Who is this Chu Fong? An ordinary college student. Chu Fong has become accustomed to the shock his ability brings to others, and he doesn't care, he said casually. Big, college student, or ordinary. If you don't want to say it, don't say it. Why make excuses like this? Leon and Angela twitched at the corners of their mouths. In the face of Chu Feng's light-hearted answer, it was obvious that they could not satisfy their conjecture. Angela as the captain of the special response team, and Leon as the direct agent of the lighthouse president. What they couldn't do, Chu Fong did it with just a few words. A person like you is an ordinary college student. How about a liar? Liars do not believe. Come on, hopefully we'll be there first. Chu Fong saw that the two did not believe and did not explain. Facts are often the most incredible. Believe it or not, he was telling the truth. The car roared on the accelerator and kept going. Boom. However, just as their car passed through the gate, a huge explosion sounded from the building of Will Pharmaceutical in front. A huge shock wave swept in directly. Boom. The huge shock wave hit the car and lifted the front of the car. The Magneto gene vibrated in Chu Feng's body, and the electromagnetic force field unfolded, directly controlling the entire car, pressing the car back to the ground abruptly. Bang! The windshield shattered and fell to the ground. Are you all right? Seeing the shock wave passing by, Chu Fong raised his head and asked. I'm fine too. Leon and Angela got up from their seats and pushed the broken glass away. When they came back to their senses and looked at the building, they were stunned. The originally grand and majestic high-rise building turned out to be dilapidated in the explosion. Go. Chu Fong knew that he was still a step late. Apparently, the Curtis Frederick deal was more than a T-virus. In order to let Curtis use the G-virus, Frederick also gave him the password of the building, otherwise he would not be able to infiltrate the company so easily. Now it seems that Curtis has arrived one step ahead of them. Crack. Leon and Angela pulled out their guns, followed closely behind, and stepped into the gate. Around the building, there is a sound from the security system of Will Pharmaceuticals. Attention everyone, there is an error in the system, please stop all activities and evacuate immediately until security measures are restored. A lot of passages were blocked, we split up to make sure to find Curtis before he could use the G-virus. Leon looked at a 3D map in the center and said, "No, if I'm not mistaken, he should be in District 4 at this time, this place is where the G-virus is stored, we can go directly." Chu Fong did not agree to Leon's request for division of troops, but pointed to the 4th area on the map and said. Chu Fong remembered that the G-virus was stored in the 4th district. Curtis must be there. Ah, how do you know? Leon and Angela were stunned when they heard the words, and looked at Chu Fong with surprise. Did Chu Fong come in? Why do you know that the G-virus is in Zone 4? Why does it feel like he is at home and knows everything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 is the biggest. It's right to go to the 4th district. Chu Fong knew that this matter was difficult to explain, so he didn't explain it at all, and went straight to the 4th district. Leon and Angela looked at each other, hesitated, but chose to follow. Although they don't know how Chu Fong knew that the G-virus was in District 4, there is one thing they can be sure of, that is, Chu Fong did not guess or miss it. They didn't have eyes and eyes at first, and it didn't matter what he said in the past. Not long after, Chu Fong came to a passage, because after the explosion, the lighting tools had been destroyed, so the passage was very dark. Chu Fong took out a pistol directly from the storage space. "You don't have a weapon, so let me, Angela saw that Chu Fong was not armed, so she wanted to go ahead. Before she could finish her words, she was surprised to find that Chu Fong was picking up a pistol, turning on the small flashlight on the pistol, and was stunned. She didn't see Chu Fong holding the gun just now, where did he get it from? This is not scientific. Not only Angela, but also Leon was dumbfounded. No one pays more attention to Chu Fong than him, but he really didn't find Chu Fong with a gun along the way. And when he left the airport, someone specially checked it. If Chu Fong had a gun on his body, it was impossible not to find out. However, it was so strange that Chu Fong really took out a pistol as if by magic. This made the two of them sweat on their foreheads. Fortunately, Chu Fong didn't attack them. If he wanted to attack them, I'm afraid they would have already fallen. "Hey, what are you still doing? Let's go." Chu Fong had walked a long way, and found that Leon and Angela were still in a daze, and urged. Leon and Angela looked at each other and saw the vigilance in each other's eyes, nodded to each other, and then followed. The aisle is dark, and if there is no flashlight, you can hardly see your fingers. Woo! The three were walking, and in the front passage, a female researcher sat on the ground, crying with her back to the crowd. There was a lot of blood on her body and she seemed to be injured. "Hold on, ma'am, and I'll get you out." Seeing that the woman was injured, Angela quickly stepped forward to help the woman. Roar! However, just as Angela helped the woman up, the woman suddenly turned her head, revealing a bloody mouth, and bit Angela. Seeing this, Leon didn't hesitate, he raised his gun to aim and was ready to shoot. However, Chu Fong was faster, pulling the trigger directly after raising the gun, without even aiming. "Don't mess around, oh." Leon was startled when he saw Chu Fong shoot indiscriminately. Angela was so close to the woman that Chu Feng's gun-lifting movements were irregular at first glance, and he fired without aiming. He used a gun all the year round, and the moment Chu Fong shot, he judged from the flashlight that Chu Feng's gun was not aimed at the female zombie at all. "This shot will definitely hit Angela," hastily shouted to remind. However, before he could finish speaking, Chu Fong had already pulled the trigger. Bang! PFF'd. The gunshots sounded, but what Leon was worried about didn't happen, and the female zombie was headshot and fell down. The system's kill prompt sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. What? This is impossible. For a moment, Leon was dumbfounded, and rubbed his eyes hard with a look of disbelief. As a top agent, his understanding of guns has surpassed too many people. His eyes never missed. Just now Chu Feng's shot was definitely not aimed at the zombies, but after he shot, the zombies actually shot their heads. Can you believe such a thing? "What are you doing? Why did you shoot?" Angela still doesn't understand why Chu Fong shot. She is rescuing the wounded. Why did Chu Fong shoot this woman? This is also too much. She's dead. Facing Angela's question, Chu Fong said lightly. She's dead. What are you talking about? She's just a poor wounded man in an explosion. When Angela heard Chu Feng's explanation, she was almost mad. This Chu Fong is also going too far, killing people, and even looking for such a nonsense reason. She is dead. How is that possible? Good money, Zhao. She was still moving just now, but she just suffered some injuries on her arm. How could she be dead? Have you ever seen a dead man move? Angela, it's true. Seeing this, Leon said affirmatively. He couldn't be more familiar with the appearance of the woman just now. She was definitely a zombie. If it wasn't for Chu Feng's quick shooting, it is estimated that Angela would be dead by now. What the hell happened to you? Are you all crazy? She's not dead, I'm pretty sure. She was still able to move just now. You've seen the dead meat, hell. Angela felt that the whole person was crazy. She thought that Leon would be on her side, but she never thought that even Leon thought that the woman was dead. These two people are just crazy. How could a dead person move? But before she finished speaking, she saw a large number of figures swaying in the passage. When her flashlight shone on those people, she could see that they all looked terrifying. Some even had half of their faces gone, but they were still unaware, and they felt horrified. Dead people really move. Roar. A zombie opened its bloody mouth and kept staggering towards Angela. It looks like a human, but the roar is really not like a human. Don't move or I'll shoot. Seeing a large number of researcher zombies keep approaching, Angela still can't conclude that these people are really dead as Chu Fong said. After all, they are really still in action. But that threat means a lot. So Angela raised the rifle directly, aimed at the person who came, and issued a warning. However, that person had already become a zombie. How could he obey the warning and continue rushing towards her? Boom. Angela had no choice but to shoot. However, she was very restrained with this shot, and hit the zombie's leg directly. The bullet of the rifle is still very powerful. The zombie was shot in the leg and the inner bone was broken, losing its balance and falling down. However, even if the leg bone was broken, the zombie researcher continued to climb towards her without any signs of pain. This is impossible. Angela was stunned, looking at the zombie that twisted and crawled towards her even if her leg was broken. At this moment, she finally realized what Chu Fong meant by the dead. If a normal person was shot in the leg, he would definitely scream in pain. How could he continue to crawl towards her like now? Boom. At this moment, the glass of the laboratory behind shattered, and several zombies broke the glass, blocking their back path. Chu Fong and Leon looked at each other, and without any hesitation, one person was in charge of one direction, and started frantically firing at the zombies in the corridor. Leon is worthy of being a special agent. He shoots very restrained, and he almost saves bullets to perfection. If he doesn't shoot, he'll kill the zombie head. Such marksmanship is worthy of being the #1 agent of the Lighthouse country. And Chu Fong is stronger. He has electromagnetic force control, and he has also advanced to the 3rd rank. How scary is the 3rd order Magneto? Say so. Because the kinetic energy of the bullet is too strong, the 1st order and 2nd order generally stay on the problem of changing the deviation of the bullet's trajectory. The 3rd order is different. It is directly to let the bullet turn at will, which can be called precision guidance. Boom. Just hearing a gunshot, a bullet flew out of Chu Feng's pistol with huge kinetic energy, breaking the air and flying towards the first zombie. Puff. The first zombie was headshot and fell head on. However, the bullet continued unabated, and when it broke the first zombie, it continued to move forward, turned a small corner, and hit the temple of the second zombie. PFF'd. The second zombie fell down. And the bullet that Chu Fong shot still kept going, and continued to turn around, harvesting the 3rd, 4th, and 5th zombies. Puff puff. A series of headshots sounded, and in a blink of an eye, all the zombies in the entire corridor were killed by Chu Feng's bullet. At the same time, in Chu Feng's mind, a large number of kill prompts sounded. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill 3 ordinary zombies, get 30 points. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill 6 ordinary zombies, get 60 points. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill 8 ordinary zombies and get 80 points. In the blink of an eye, 20 zombies had been eliminated by Chu Fong in an instant, and the 200 points were successfully credited to the account. Chu Feng's points have also increased to 5,410 points. Of course, it is still a long way from upgrading to the 4th order points, but it is also a small step. Chu Fong is still very happy about this. Mumbling, this, impossible. Angela saw that Chu Fong only fired one shot, and 20 zombies fell all at once, and the whole person was stunned. She looked at Chu Fong, opened her mouth wide, and her beautiful eyes widened in shock and disbelief. As the captain of the special response team, she has seen many people with good marksmanship. She had seen even the shooter who was 100 steps through Yang. However, one bullet knocked down 20 zombies. Forgive her shallow knowledge, she has never seen it before. One bullet. No matter how good your marksmanship is, you can only kill one zombie. But what the hell is Chu Fong? One bullet in one piece. How did he do it? The bullet seemed to turn automatically. But the question is, how can the bullet turn automatically? This is totally unscientific. Even if the bullet can turn, with the impact of the bullet, it can shoot through 3 zombies, and only 4 zombies will die, and it will definitely stop. How could it be possible to penetrate so many zombies? This is not something humans can do at all. At this moment, she felt that either the world was crazy, or she was crazy and had hallucinations. Otherwise, how could it be possible to see this completely contrary to common sense gun skills? Chu Fong, need my help, The zombies have all been eliminated. How is this possible? There are not many zombies behind him, only 6 heads. Before Leon's magazine had been emptied, all the zombies had been killed by him. Leon believes that there are few zombies behind him, and there are many zombies on Chu Feng's side, so he must help. However, what he couldn't believe was that his speed was fast enough after finishing the 6-header on his side. However, Chu Feng's side is faster, and the 20 zombies have been eliminated long ago, faster than him. He is the #1 agent of the Lighthouse Country. In terms of marksmanship, if he says he is second, no one dares to say #1. But even if he is like this, it takes time to deal with 6 zombies. And Chu Fong dealt with 20 zombies faster than him. What the hell? Could it be that Chu Fong doesn't even need to aim when he shoots? Not right either. Even if Chu Fong shoots without aiming, he has to change the magazine after firing the bullet. 20 zombies were all beaten within a few breaths. How can that be? What's even more incredible is that these zombies were all headshot by Chu Fong. What is even more incredible is that the positions of those zombie headshots are all different. It was as if Chu Fong kept turning various directions to fire at the zombie. But the passage is so big, can Chu Fong still run through it, shoot a few heads on the left, then shoot a few heads on the right, and shoot a few heads in the front? Forgive him for his shallow knowledge, he couldn't figure out how Chu Fong did it with such a killing method. Angela, what just happened? Leon asked blankly. Chu Fong killed all the zombies with just one shot, and killed 20 zombies with one shot. Angela felt like she was going crazy. She grabbed Leon's shoulders, shook her desperately, and said with an unbelievably excited expression, "Angela, calm down, what the hell is killing 20 zombies with one shot?" When Leon heard Angela's words, he was even more confused than he was. He thought he had heard it wrong. Angela actually said that Chu Fong shot down 20 zombies with one shot. How is this possible? Could it be that these zombies are very obedient and queue up for Chu Fong to be shot? But that's it. How do you explain the bullet holes in all directions? This makes absolutely no sense. Is Angela crazy, or is he crazy, or is the world crazy? It's true, I saw it with my own eyes, he really killed all the zombies with one shot. Angela was even more excited when she saw Leon's disbelief. You really knocked down 20 zombies with one shot. Leon got the exact affirmation and knew it was true. Because he also only heard a gunshot behind him. In other words, although it is hard to believe, Chu Fong really killed 20 zombies with one shot. However, this is too subversive of human imagination, so Leon asked Chu Fong again, wanting to hear what Chu Fong said. It's a shot. What's wrong? When Chu Fong heard the words, he turned his head in surprise, and asked with a calm expression. It seems to be saying that killing 20 zombies is all. Is it strange for one bullet? Puff. Hey, what is your expression? Have you ever seen someone who can kill 20 zombies with one shot? Leon was so angry at Chu Feng's words that he almost spit out a mouthful of old blood, and roared in the loudest voice in his life. Caffey, what is a shot? What's wrong? Defying the sky. Brother. It's nothing to turn over 20 zombies with one bullet. So what is counted? Have you ever seen someone who can turn over 20 zombies with one shot? Angela also nodded her head like a rattle, which meant that she had never seen it before. This shot of 20 zombies is really awesome. And it's still awesome. Listening to what you guys said, it seems really. There is a fire that burns a wave of zombies to death, and I have never seen anyone else do this. After listening to the two of them, Chu Fong realized that his strength seemed to have become awesome. He didn't even notice. Like Alice, she was able to use her mind power early in the morning to burn a wave of zombies into charcoal with a fire. Getting used to the strength of his teammates, he hadn't noticed it for a while, so was he already that powerful? Wait, what did you just say? Have you ever seen someone set fire to a wave of zombies? Angela was keenly aware that something was wrong in Chu Feng's words. Chu Feng seemed to have said just now, what has he seen someone burn a wave of zombies to death? It doesn't sound like a problem. As long as you give an oil barrel, ordinary people can lead the zombies together, and they can do it. But when these words came out of Chu Feng's mouth, she felt that this must be unusual. How do you say it? It's the use of mind power to control flames to burn zombies. The effect is much better than my control of metal, and the best effect against corpse tides is that the ability to sustain is not good. Chu Feng recalled the scene of Raccoon City and Alice fighting zombies together. He fought with hundreds of guns on one side, but Alice alone used her mind to burn out the zombies on one side, which was more efficient than him. But unfortunately, that kind of consumes a lot of thought power and cannot be used all the time. Metal control, so you killed all those zombies at the airport. Leon heard the metal's control of this ability, and immediately realized a problem. Chu Feng's behavior of destroying 20 zombies with one bullet this time was different from that of the airport. But there is one thing in common, and that is weird. If Chu Feng can really control the metal and make the bullets turn, then it is not surprising that he can control a large number of firearms to kill zombies at the same time. At the same time, it also explained why there were so many bullet casings in a circle at the scene, and the zombies also fell in a circle. There is one thing that doesn't make sense, that is, there are at least hundreds of guns that can cause that kind of damage. But where did Chu Feng get so many guns, and where did they put them? I did it. Chu Feng didn't hide it. Later, he had to deal with Curtis, who was infected with the G virus. These abilities could not be hidden. It would be better to say it later so that they could be prepared. At least know that he can control the metal, and it will be more tacit in the fight later. Sure enough, it's you. Who are you? A power user. Leon was shocked. So to speak, of course I'm more used to being called a mutant. Chu Feng corrected with a calm expression. I think you're crazy, you are a mutant, and so are your friends. You can also use your mind to control flames to burn zombies, why don't you say that someone can't be killed? Bragging. After listening to Chu Feng's words, Angela couldn't believe it. She has never seen anyone in this world who can control flames with mind power, nor does she believe that there are superhuman things. And control the flames, why don't you say that there are still people who can't be killed? Can you brag a little bigger? Yes, my friend Matt's recovery ability is very strong. As long as he doesn't get a headshot, he is almost immortal. When Chu Feng heard the words, thinking of Matt who was infected by the mutant reptile virus, he said, Matt's recovery ability is indeed strong. Even if his body is punched in a hole, he can't die. The bullet was hit and the wound healed in a blink of an eye. As long as he doesn't get shot in the head, it's okay to say he can't be beaten to death. PFF, you are not human. Leon and Angela were completely speechless. They suddenly discovered that they seemed to be following a great monster to kill the monster. I have one more question. No, two. Where's your gun? Also, why didn't you hide it this time? Leon looked at Chu Feng and frowned, and asked word by word. When he was at the airport, he asked, and Chu Feng concealed it, but now he uses his abilities without hesitation and told them everything. This is obviously abnormal and inconsistent. I don't say it at the airport because I don't want to cause trouble. Now it's because we're going to be in trouble later and we need to cooperate. As for where the gun came from, you don't understand this. Anyway, after you see the G-virus variant, you will not be surprised by my ability. Chu Fong looked at Leon and Angela and explained with a sincere expression. I can accept this reason. It seems that the monsters we are going to deal with are not ordinary. As a special agent, Leon can still have his own judgment on whether what others say is true or false. The look in Chu Feng's eyes just now and the way he spoke did not seem to be deceiving. There is only one answer: the G-virus variant that will be encountered later may be more terrifying than they think. Okay, time is running out, let's continue. I hope Curtis has not been injected, otherwise this battle is inevitable. After Chu Fong finished speaking, he didn't explain any more, just stepped out and continued to walk forward. Leon and Angela looked at each other with complicated expressions, and quickly followed. Not long after, the three came to District 4. This is a syringe. Angela's eyes were sharp, and she quickly noticed that there was a syringe next to the open box on the ground. She picked it up and saw that it was empty, as if the contents had been injected. Looks like we're late. Chu Fong did not focus on the syringe, but looked at a dark shadow walking out of the darkness in the distance. Chapter 91. Shish. Angela also found the man who came out of the shadow, and without any hesitation, she pointed her gun at the man who came out of the shadow. Curtis. However, when Angela saw the person coming, her body trembled and she exclaimed, lost her voice. Although she had heard from Chu Fong before she came that Curtis was the disseminator this time. However, she has been telling herself in her heart that her brother is not that kind of person. He will not spread the T-virus, nor will he steal the G-virus. However, the moment Curtis stepped out of the shadows, her last hope was dashed. The presence of Curtis here means that Chu Feng's inference is true. He is really the spreader of the T-virus in the airport, and the empty box and syringe on the ground all indicate that the person who used to be the closest to her is now the person she hates the most. Why is she in the army? Isn't it to protect ordinary civilians? However, his brother is a destroyer of the people. Now she is more willing to come out to others than her own brother. Angela. Curtis slowly walked towards Angela. Crack. Angela has not forgotten her mission. She said that if Curtis really did this, even if it was her own brother, she would not be soft-hearted. Thinking of the hundreds of ordinary people who died at the airport, Angela's tangled eyes gradually became firm. Her brother is a kind person. He is not a person who kills ordinary people for his purpose. He is not her brother. Angela raised the rifle in her hand and aimed at the man in front of her. What? Curtis suddenly stumbled, screamed in agony, and even knelt on the ground, which seemed very painful. G-virus is a constantly mutated and unstable virus. It is more difficult to fuse than the T-virus. The pain of breaking and reorganizing the gene chain is that the system will force Chu Fong to sleep, not to mention a sober person. Curtis has been tough enough not to lose his sanity and will. Curtis. Angela's already firm eyes were aroused at the moment when she saw Curtis's painful fall. Although she can train herself to be an emotionless soldier through various trainings, when facing her close relatives, her inseparable affection still prevails rationally. Angela called out, put down her weapon, and rushed over. Watching Angela put down her weapon, Chu Fong knew that a battle at the peak was inevitable. You are injured and you need to see a doctor. Angela looked genuinely concerned. However, Curtis just shook his head. When he made this choice, he knew that he would surely die. He is not afraid of death, only afraid of dying worthless. Why, Curtis? Angela looked at the pained Curtis and asked suspiciously. Angela didn't understand that Curtis had lost all her relatives except her. It stands to reason that he should understand the pain of losing a loved one better than anyone else. Angela doesn't understand why Curtis spread the virus at the airport. Doesn't he know that it will kill many people and destroy many families? I can't forgive them for covering up the truth about what happened in Raccoon City, and I refuse to let the Lighthouse executives rewrite the truth as they see fit. So when I know the truth, I swear, I vowed to make the truth known to the public, no matter how much I would pay for it. But he also told me, I can't let it get any worse. Even if it was deserved. I can't let disaster reappear in this place where I was born and raised. That's why he left me. Why did he blow up this place? Curtis stood up with difficulty and said everything. The lighthouse country's consistent style: if something goes wrong, it will be resolved directly. Even the survivors are leveled. And Curtis is one of the survivors who should have died in Raccoon City, but managed to escape. His wife and daughter all died in Raccoon City. All he wants is to prove to the world the truth about Raccoon City, the inhumane experiment conducted by the top executives of the Lighthouse State and the Umbrella Company. What did he do wrong? But it was suppressed by the entire Lighthouse country. No Lighthouse executive wants the Raccoon City thing to get out. So he went to extremes. Since you are unwilling to announce the truth about Raccoon City, he will spread the T-virus to let the world know that zombies really exist. And he will also be injected with G-virus, become a monster in person, and show up in the outside world. What he has to do is to let people all over the world see the horror of this biological and chemical weapon, the despicableness of the high-level Lighthouse country, and the horror of the Umbrella Company. Let people know what the hell is going on in Raccoon City. Do justice to the family of his dead wife and children, which this country owes them. Looking at Curtis, who was speaking slowly, Chu Fong was also moved, and quietly avoided it. Although he knew that Curtis had been injected with the G-virus, he would soon mutate into a monster, and after that, his consciousness would completely disappear and he would become a monster. But Chu Fong still did not choose to kill him immediately. In fact, in Chu Feng's heart, he understands Curtis's behavior very well. Alice, Matt, Jill, Dr. Charles, aren't they all working hard to expose the raccoon incident? For such people, Chu Fong admires from the bottom of his heart. If Curtis, like Matt, can still recall human consciousness after turning into a monster, Chu Fong will not fight him. But the G-virus is not the same as the T-virus. There are strains of the G-virus that in turn control the body, and the mutation doesn't stop in the first place. This is a flawed weapon. He will gradually become a monster who only knows how to kill, which is also doomed that Chu Fong can't keep him like he did to Matt. This, after listening to Curtis's motives, let alone Chu Fong, even Leon, the first agent of the Lighthouse country, was in awe. If he could, he didn't even want to fight that Curtis. He is also a survivor in Raccoon City. Among the large number of survivors, Claire chose to help others, Chu Fong chose to jump out of the accident, and he chose to embark on the road to eliminate the T-virus, and more people chose to demonstrate. The poor Curtis chose to resist violently. Although they have taken different paths, they can understand each other's reasons for doing so, and they all have a common goal to avoid the recurrence of human tragedies like Raccoon City. At this moment, he finally understood why Chu Fong didn't want to come over. Such an admirable fighter, if possible, he would not want to fight. Ta. Just then, the door opened and a group of soldiers poured in. The laboratory of Will Pharmaceutical Company was invaded. How could the people on it not respond to such important matters? As early as after Chu Fong and the others set off, they also set off as a whole team. In fact, from the perspective of the top of the lighthouse, they are not wrong. After all, the T-virus can make people into zombies, and the infection is still so strong. If the truth is announced, it will be a worldwide panic. No one can bear such consequences. But the T-virus has already appeared, and they can't stop researching vaccines, so Will Pharmaceuticals will take advantage of the situation. Nothing to lose here. Kakaka. A large number of soldiers aimed their guns at Curtis in the field. Tread. Facing the large number of soldiers, Curtis stepped out and blocked Angela behind him. Curtis knew that this was his dispute with the country, his last roar in defiance as a survivor of Raccoon City. And his sister has nothing to do with this matter, and should not be involved in this war. Wait a moment. Angela saw that Curtis was going to face dozens of armed soldiers, and wanted to step forward to stop him. She knew very well that Curtis was no match for them. To go up is to die. And she didn't want to watch her last relative die. There is nothing to stop it, and after a while, I will be able to show the world the irrefutable truth in my own way. And you will be the first witnesses. Drink. Curtis directly shook off Angela's hand, looked at the soldiers with guns with hatred, and said slowly. As Curtis spoke, his body was constantly mutating. In a short while, his shirt was torn, and his entire right arm turned into a terrifying sharp claw. The shoulders turned into a huge eye, which looked very terrifying. The two soldiers directly pulled Angela away. Curtis did not attack when he saw this. This was his war with the upper echelons of the lighthouse country, and it had nothing to do with his sister. Fire. Seeing Angela being pulled away, the leader of the squad did not hesitate, and directly gave the order to fire. No matter what reason Curtis had, they couldn't let him out of here. Otherwise, there will be a huge panic and disaster outside. So, Curtis had to die. Dozens of soldiers around him frantically pulled the trigger, and a massive amount of bullets poured out crazily, hitting Curtis. After all, Curtis just merged with the mutation of the G virus, and the strength is not very high. Under the terrifying firepower, he has no ability to resist at all, and can only raise the huge claws to protect his head. His body was quickly bruised and bruised. Do not. Seeing her brother being attacked, Angela cried out in pain. However, she was pulled by 2 soldiers and could not go forward at all. Cease fire. Stop firing. Stop firing. Seeing that Curtis was shaky, the leading captain directly told everyone to stop firing. Those soldiers also felt that Curtis was dying and stopped firing. Boom. Curtis stood unsteady and staggered, but in the end he couldn't support it and collapsed. The target mission was aggressive, and resisting arrest, we have killed the target. The captain of the soldier directly communicated and reported to his superiors. Is this what you mean by a strong opponent? Leon on the side watched that Curtis fell and asked Chu Fong next to him. Chu Fong didn't speak, just watched silently without saying a word. If Curtis is really so easy to die, then he is not worthy of the title of the big boss. This firepower is not enough to deal with Matt, but to deal with Curtis, so be it. Seeing Chu Feng's solemn expression, Leon turned his eyes back to Curtis with a puzzled expression. It's already like this, can it be said that he can still be resurrected? Warning, deadly virus strain detected in Garden District, request for reply. Warning, deadly virus strain detected in Garden District, request for reply. Sure enough, the next moment, the entire base turned on a red light, and the laboratory echoed the system's warning sound. At the same time, Curtis, who had fallen to the ground, actually stood up again. Team leader, the soldiers behind him reminded in horror. What are you kidding? My subordinates have beaten you to pieces. The captain was shocked when he heard the words, and hurriedly raised his head. When he saw Curtis, his face was full of horror and disbelief. He just saw with his own eyes that Curtis was turned into a hornet's nest by his own men. However, he just lowered his head to report, and then raised his head. Curtis had already stood up again. This is not scientific at all. However, before he finished speaking, he was instantly slapped to death by Curtis. The soldiers behind him looked horrified and opened fire again. The terrifying bullets poured out as if they didn't want money, but they hit Curtis as if they were tickling. Curtis swiped his claws frantically. One claw was a wave of soldiers being shot away, and one claw was a wave of soldiers being shot away. Those heavily armed soldiers were as vulnerable as leeks. It's just abusive. Crack. An artilleryman filled the grenade directly and aimed at Curtis in the field. However, the next moment, he could not find the target. A dark shadow blocked the light above his head. The grenadier screamed and was directly killed by Curtis. Bang. Boom. The grenade gun fired out of control, hitting the soldiers directly. The explosion sounded, and there was another casualty. My leg. Several soldiers covered the wounded, but were caught up by Curtis, who had turned into a monster. Boom. Another grenadier finally seized the opportunity, aimed at Curtis, and fired with a bang. The huge grenade flew directly from the gun hull and shot at Curtis. If Curtis is hit, no matter how strong his body is, he will be killed. However, Curtis, who has mutated again, is also stronger, and can respond to such a high-speed moving grenade. Boom. Curtis waved his paw directly, and the grenade bounced off. Boom. The terrorist grenade was thrown upwards, blasting the overpass above. When the overpass fell, the artilleryman was buried instead. The 2 soldiers who were holding Angela had been scared and ran away, so how could they care about Angela? Angela, who broke free, looked at the one-sided slaughter in the arena, with fear and confusion in her eyes. She didn't know what to do or what to do. One is his close relatives, and the other is his comrade in arms. Who can she help and who will she help? Why, at this level, are you still unwilling to take action? Leon frowned as he looked at the indifferent Chu Fong and said. He had 2 small pistols on him, which were of no use at all. He really wanted to know how strong the so-called mutant Chu Fong was, and whether he could fight against Curtis who fused the G-virus. After Curtis blasted the surrounding soldiers to death, he turned to see Angela. His eyeballs began to vibrate, and Curtis, who was controlled by the G-virus, had lost his mind and began to walk towards Angela. Obviously, the G-virus is different from the T-virus, it expands not by infection, but by making offspring. Among the people here, only Angela is a woman, a beautiful woman, and a woman of the same blood as him. So he targeted Angela. Tap tap. Curtis walked towards Angela step by step, ignoring the attacks of the soldiers who were not dead yet. Seeing this, Leon drew out his dual guns and shot at Curtis frantically. His marksmanship was accurate, but hitting Curtis was of no use at all. Ordinary bullets can't even break through Curtis's skin, let alone kill him. It's just scraping. Roar. Curtis roared, stepped forward, and rushed towards Angela. At this time, Angela wanted to run, but there was nowhere to escape. If he is caught by Curtis, he will have a wedding on the spot. At this critical juncture, Chu Fong stepped out and stopped in front of Angela. Crack. In an instant, a large number of firearms appeared crazily, and in the blink of an eye, a spherical firearms defense belt was formed. Da da da. In an instant, thousands of guns fired in salvo, frantically firing at Curtis who was rushing towards him. Thousands of weapons fire at the same time. What is that scene? That's an entire army of people firing at the same time. In an instant, the sound of gunfire was loud, and a large number of bullets poured out frantically as if they didn't want money, and shot at Curtis. Even if Curtis's body defense is strong, under such terrifying force output, he can't stand it. After being beaten he screamed and retreated. What? Okay, a lot of weapons, the airport zombies really killed him. Angela and Leon were shocked and disbelieving when they saw the thousands of weapons appearing almost at the same time. At this moment, Leon finally understood how the 500 or 600 zombies in the airport died. It was Chu Fong who killed them. And Leon finally saw how Chu Feng's gun appeared. However, even if he saw it with his own eyes, he couldn't see where Chu Feng's weapon was placed. Mumble. Well, what's that? Gunslinger. My god, guns, lots of guns. Who is this person? How can he control so many guns? Thousands of guns fired at the same time, god. He alone is equivalent to an army. It's impossible. How can there be someone in this world who can control so many weapons at the same time, and where did his weapons come from? It suddenly appeared. Fortunately, he attacked the monster, it should be his own, otherwise it would be miserable. Dude, now we are saved. The soldiers around who were beaten to pieces were all dumbfounded when they saw Chu Fong take action. One by one, their mouths widened, their eyes widened, and their faces were shocked and unbelievable. Control thousands of weapons at the same time, needless to say how spectacular the scene is. Where is this person? It's a gun fortress at all. Just looking at it is exciting. Not to mention watching him frantically fire. As soldiers, they are quite familiar with weapons, and they are never surprised when they see weapons. However, thousands of salvos like this are still under the control of the same person. They have never heard of it, not to mention that they have met. That is, Chu Fong opened fire on Curtis, not the enemy. Otherwise, those soldiers felt that facing Chu Fong, they couldn't even hold a breath, and they would be wiped out in an instant. The morale, which had fallen to a low point, had recovered. Kakaka. Just when everyone thought that Curtis was going to be solved by Chu Fong, Curtis's body mutated again, and his muscles doubled. Ding ding ding. Those bullets hit him, but they couldn't break through his defenses. Roar. Curtis raised his head suddenly, stared at Chu Fong with bloody eyes, roared, and stepped on the ground. Boom. The ground cracked, and he was like an arrow from the string, blasting away all the bullets, all the way like a broken bamboo, blasting towards Chu Fong. A sharp claw, like a reaping scythe of the god of death, slapped Chu Fong head on. Chu Fong, be careful. Seeing this, Angela behind her exclaimed and reminded loudly. She wanted to help, but Curtis's charge was too fast. She couldn't help at all. Of course, she couldn't help either. Shish. However, just when Angela was nervous, thinking that Chu Fong was going to be slapped to death by that Curtis, a strange thing happened. Chu Feng's body seemed to be pulled by an invisible force and flew upside down, narrowly avoiding Curtis's fatal blow. And his own body is also suspended in the air. Huh, it's incredible, he's flying, he's flying. Oh my god, it's impossible, how can humans fly? Crazy, yes, I must be crazy, what did I see? Flying people. What kind of monster is he, Superman? Mumble, I saw God today. The surrounding soldiers looked at the floating Chu Fong, their mouths wide open, their eyes widened, and their faces were shocked and unbelievable. They never thought that Chu Fong could still fly. Or really mean literally, fly up, I'm a good boy, hey. This is insane. How can humans possibly fly? As far as his anti-scientific ability is concerned, it is estimated that even if Newton knew about it, he would have to cheat. They thought they had seen God and performed a miracle. Otherwise, how could an ordinary person fly? Of course, what they didn't know was that what Chu Fong had awakened in his body was the Magneto gene, which could control the electromagnetic force of the four fundamental forces of the universe. Not only does it have nothing to do with God, but it is more scientific than science. Is this the mutant? It's unbelievable. Leon raised his head and looked at Chu Fong floating in the sky, with a shocked expression on his face. Chu Fong said earlier that he can control metal, but he didn't say that he can still fly. Mutants are so terrifying. What? He flew. Angela was also dumbfounded, her beautiful eyes widened in disbelief. She never thought that Chu Fong, who was about to be shot to death, suddenly flew up. Who is he? Not only them, but also Curtis was stunned, showing a look of astonishment. Although he has become a monster, some human instincts and common sense are still there, and he can't figure out why a human can fly. The way Chu Fong is able to levitate and fly is that he can generate a magnetic field so strong that it essentially polarizes the magnetic field of the atoms inside the diamagnet. By controlling the magnetic force, he turned himself and other substances into magnetic substances, and lifted the object through the repulsion between the magnetic fields. Whether it is a ferromagnet, a paramagnet or a diamagnet, nothing in nature can escape Chu Feng's palm. Chu Fong is a veritable king of all things magnetism. Of course, such a flight consumes a lot of money, and it is possible to stay in the air for a short time, but it is really unbearable for a long time. So Chu Fong just suspended and avoided, and soon returned to the ground. Roar! Curtis saw that Chu Fong had returned to the ground, and he directly picked up a piece of cement on the ground and threw it at Chu Fong. Whoosh! The cement block was like a cannonball, shooting straight at Chu Fong. The power is so strong that even a car can be smashed in an instant. If he attacked Chu Fong, he would instantly smash Chu Fong into mashed flesh. Seeing this, Chu Fong was not afraid. He waved his hand, and he put away all the firearms around him. At the same time, with a thought, the surrounding metal steel plates flew directly over, blocking those cement blocks. Roar! Curtis saw that the long-range attack was still ineffective against Chu Fong, so he ignored him, and turned his head and rushed towards Angela again. His goal is to have children, and he is not so keen on Chu Feng's grades. Since he couldn't kill Chu Fong, he simply continued his unfinished business. Although Angela didn't know why Curtis rushed to her repeatedly, but the sense of crisis was still very strong, she turned around and fled without saying a word. Boom! However, Curtis was so fast that he came to Angela in a blink of an eye. Under the claws of the giant claw, Angela is about to be taken away. Angela! Leon wanted to rescue him, but he couldn't get involved in this monster's battle at all, so he could only exclaim to remind him. Angela turned back, just in time to see the giant claw falling, getting closer and closer. For a moment, Angela was desperate. Is she going to die here? Boom! Just when Angela thought she was going to die in despair, a shadow flashed past and knocked her down. The two narrowly escaped Curtis's sharp claws and rolled several meters on the ground before stopping. Feeling the warm embrace, Angela was immediately stunned, and she couldn't come back to her senses for a long time. Angela looked up, just to see Chu Feng's slightly immature and determined face. For some reason, this face that was supposed to arouse the desire for protection now makes her feel particularly at ease. It seems that as long as there is Chu Fong, nothing can hurt her. Are you all right? Seeing Angela's dumbfounded expression, Chu Fong thought she was injured and asked. I'm fine. Angela didn't expect those strange thoughts to arise. This Chu Fong is obviously much younger than her, Point 0. As the captain of the special response team, she has been managing the law and order in Harvardville, and she does not know how many young people like Chu Fong have been protected. But it was the first time that he was rescued by such a person, and he was still held in his arms. Made her a little confused. It's all right. Seeing that Angela was all right, Chu Fong was ready to let her go. Shish. However, at this moment, a huge claws attacked Angela again. Chu Fong had no choice but to take Angela and roll away again. Drink. Chu Feng's Magneto gene vibrated, the electromagnetic force field unfolded, and the void grabbed the surrounding metal steel and kept stopping in front of the two of them. However, Curtis's claws are not steel but better than steel, and they are madly grabbing against Chu Fong. The steel plate was directly broken by the sharp claws. Chu Fong kept holding Angela back and kept waving his hand. Boom bang bang. Those steel bars buried under the cement kept sticking out, as if they had life, crazily wrapping around Curtis's feet. Shish. Curtis kept waving his claws to break the steel bars. Roar. Curtis was about to break free from the shackles of the steel bars, and he raised a huge roar to the sky, staring at Chu Fong with bloody eyes. Grandpa still doesn't believe he can't kill you. Chu Feng's electromagnetic force field suddenly exploded, directly expanding to 100 meters. Pull towards the huge metal sky bridge overhead. Kakaka. Boom. On the huge overpass that was more than 10 meters long and 2 meters wide, those steel nails bigger than a bowl were madly bounced off, and the entire overpass was twisted and swayed crazily. My God, he's about to demolish the bridge. Can such a big bridge be controlled? This is too scary. Who is the monster? Run, run. The surrounding soldiers were shocked when they saw that Chu Fong was going to demolish the overpass. One by one, their eyes widened, their mouths widened, and they looked in disbelief. Even if Chu Fong could control the metal, it would be terrifying if he could even control the overpass. You know, it's an overpass of more than 10 meters. The weight of this steel is at least dozens of tons. Is this something human can control? At this moment, they couldn't even tell who the monster was. Chu Fong and Curtis. Seeing that the overpass was about to collapse, the surrounding soldiers screamed in terror and fled. Any mutants or monsters? Leon yelled and ran out quickly. Roar. At this time, Curtis, who was trapped by the steel bars, finally cut off all the steel bars and charged towards Chu Fong again with a roar. Drink. The Magneto gene in Chu Feng's body vibrated wildly, and the electromagnetic force field around him contracted wildly. Boom. The overpass above it couldn't bear it any longer, and it crashed down. Curtis heard the sound above his head, and the moment he raised his head, he was hit by dozens of tons of huge steel, and he was buried in an instant. The overpass smashed down, and the shock wave that set off sent Chu Fong and Angela flying, and the dust set off covered one side. The surrounding soldiers carefully carried their guns forward one by one, wanting to see if Curtis was dead. However, the ruins were so large that Curtis's body could not be seen at all. Cough. Are you all right? Chu Fong got up from the ground, patted the dust on his body, and stretched his hand to Angela on the ground. I'm fine, thanks. Angela grabbed Chu Feng's hand, stood up, and said gratefully. Then Angela looked at the huge ruins next to her, and said a little lonely, is he dead? Not yet. Chu Fong didn't hear the kill reminder, so he was definitely authentic. What? This isn't dead. The surrounding soldiers shuddered when they heard the words, this is a flyover. Dozens of tons of steel smashed down, and the boulder should have been broken. It's not dead. Beep beep. Boom. Swish. At this moment, a beep alarm sounded throughout the laboratory. Then one by one the sprinklers were turned on, and a large amount of water was sprayed from it, covering the entire garden area. What the hell is this? Those soldiers smelled the pungent smell and looked puzzled. A pure solution of ethanol. Chu Fong said calmly. What the hell, are you disinfecting us? The soldier cursed. No, it's disinfecting the entire building. Chu Fong said. What's the meaning? The surrounding soldiers looked puzzled, did not understand what this meant by disinfecting the building. At this moment, a huge beep from the Research Institute's computer sounded overhead. The building will be automatically destructed after 5 minutes, and all channels have been closed. What the hell? At the gate of Will Pharmaceutical, Claire, who came over, looked at the dilapidated Will Pharmaceutical with a puzzled expression. She didn't understand that she was just a while late. What happened here? Chu Fong. Thinking of Chu Fong, Claire rushed into the building without hesitation. What the hell? We're still inside. After being reminded by the computer, all the soldiers were dumbfounded. Automatically blow up, but the problem is, they are still inside. If this place is destroyed at this time, wouldn't they just die here? You go, I'll hold him back. Chu Fong looked at the ruins and said with a solemn expression. Bring everyone to the center lounge area, fast, now, right now. Seeing that this place was about to be destroyed, Leon ordered without hesitation. Several living soldiers saw this and hurriedly supported each other and went to the central elevator. Kakaka. Boom bang bang. Curtis, who had not moved, his body continued to mutate, and even the terrifying power of dozens of tons of ruins could not be suppressed, and it shook violently. Boom. Curtis directly lifted the huge steel plate of the overpass, stood up directly, and let out a huge roar in the sky. His original human face also gradually disappeared, and a tail like a steel whip grew out behind him, and almost no human form could be seen. Chu Fong. When Angela heard the sound, she turned around and saw the huge figure that was broken open in the ruins. She was worried that Chu Fong did not get on the elevator, and turned back directly. Angela. Seeing this, Leon was worried that Angela was wrong, and ran back after him. Combine. The electromagnetic force field vibrated around Chu Fong, and directly controlled the surrounding metal to gather in the middle, trying to trap Curtis. Bang. However, when Curtis saw the elevator rise, he let out a roar, and his huge tail slapped the ground, jumped up, and just avoided the gathering of the metal and flew into the air. Crack. Angela wanted to shoot when she saw this. Was stopped by Leon. Shoot here and we'll be affected too. Leon looked at the pure ethanol solution scattered in the surrounding air and said. This air is full of pure ethanol solution, and a little spark can make the entire base fall into a sea of fire. This amounts to premature self-destruction. Boom. 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 Curtis was not hindered, and was directly attracted by the mobile soldiers in the elevator, and kept jumping on the flyovers above. At this time, it became very difficult for Chu Fong to continue to attack. The farther the distance is, the more mental power Chu Fong consumes to control, and the less precise the control is. A few dozen meters away, it was very reluctant to deal with Curtis. Hell, it's the monster, it's the monster. He's up. The soldiers in the central elevator were about to cry when they saw Curtis, who kept jumping. I thought he was dead, but he was still alive. Forget it, he actually ignored Chu Fong and pursued them instead. They wanted to hide, but there was no way to hide in the elevator. Boom. Curtis was not polite and bumped directly into it. Bang. Chu Fong looked up, only to see a large amount of glass falling in the sky. Curtis, who was completely the G-virus, was also fierce, not only attacking the elevator. Even the top dome is not spared. This is a battle. It's just demolishing the house. A lot of glass fell madly down. These glasses are inherently sharp, and under the acceleration of dozens of meters high, they are like sharp blades. Once attacked, it would definitely be stabbed to death on the spot. Drink. The Magneto gene in Chu Feng's body vibrated wildly, and the electromagnetic force field all over his body covered all metals. Crack. Around 10 tons of metal were rolled up by Chu Fong, forming a huge protective umbrella over everyone's heads. Ding ding ding. Although the huge glass shards like blades are very powerful, it is almost impossible to break through Chu Feng's defense. Boom. After tearing down the roof, Curtis roared in victory and jumped back again. It fell directly behind Angela. Angela turned back and could see Curtis's huge eyes staring at her. Not to mention how infiltrating it is. Get down. Chu Fong shouted directly to Angela. Shish. Angela fell down obediently. Curtis still didn't understand what was going on. Dozens of tons of steel roared directly and banged on him. Ow. Curtis screamed and was blasted out directly. The blow directly seriously injured him. Chu Fong was about to kill him with a knife, and at this time, a computer beep sounded around. The countdown to the automatic bombing program starts. 20, 19, 18, 17. Run. Without any hesitation, Chu Fong rushed towards the pool in District 4. This place is going to be purified. Alice is not there, he can't control the flames. It would be miserable if it got burned. Leon and Angela didn't hesitate to hear the words, and they resolutely ran with their lives. Crack. At the moment when the countdown reaches 1, the ignition device in the base instantly emits sparks. A large amount of pure ethanol solution around was instantly ignited, and a terrifying explosion broke out, sweeping everything around. This explosion is not just the central garden but covers 4 surrounding areas. The employees who turned into zombies were instantly submerged and burned to ashes. PFF.L. At the moment of the explosion, Chu Fong, Leon and Angela finally rushed to the pool and jumped down. The fire above was raging, and it continued. And all around is water. Chu Fong and Leon are better. Leon is an agent, almost omnipotent. While Chu Fong lives in southern Kyushu, things like diving should not be too simple. But Angela couldn't. She didn't know water at all and choked quickly. Watching Angela drown in the water, Chu Fong thought that, according to the development of the plot, Leon should kiss Angela and give her oxygen at this time. However, when he looked at Leon, he found that Leon had no intention of saving Angela at all, but instead watched Chu Fong keep signaling. It seems to be saying, "Brother, hurry up and give her oxygen." Quote. When Chu Fong saw that Leon actually took the initiative to let the beauty away and let him come, he was a little dumbfounded. "Brother, shouldn't you do this job? Besides, didn't you always think that Claire and I were boyfriend and girlfriend? Do you want me to do something like this?" However, what was ushered in was Leon curling his lips in the water, signaling to Chu Fong to hurry up and hug you. Now, what's the matter with kissing to save someone? If you don't hurry up, people will die. Such a big beauty, can you really have the heart to watch her drown and die? Gollum. Chu Fong hesitated here, and Angela was bubbling, and she was choked on by the water and fainted. If you don't save people, I'm afraid she will die here. Chu Fong was helpless, rolled his eyes at Leon in the water, swam forward, and kissed Angela. A lot of oxygen was pumped directly into Angela's lungs. Angela, getting oxygen, like most drowning people, will catch any life-saving straw. With the oxygen, she directly grabbed Chu Fong like an octopus. Now Chu Fong can't escape even if he wants to run. The door to the building's control room was pushed open. Claire entered directly and quickly, and could see a lot of camera images. But at this time, the camera is almost full of burning flames. DDD. The indoor garden is falling. The home screen also shows this huge tip. Originally, the central area where Chu Fong and the others were fighting fell directly to the ground, revealing a bottomless huge pothole. And the flames were burning like crazy. My God, what's going on here? Claire was a little confused. She didn't understand why she came so late. Why is it like this here? No, it has to be stopped. How should I do it? This way, this way. It should be fine. Claire is also a little genius. Seeing that the central area falls, the pressure inside is getting higher and higher, so he directly turns on the exhaust compressor, and the hot burning air is exhausted. The flaming flames gradually went out. Angela is worthy of being the captain of the special response team. She has a very strong quality and opened her eyes in a short time. When she saw Chu Fong, who was close at hand, she was stunned for a moment. She never thought that Chu Fong would save her again when she was most in danger. And kissed her. She instinctively pushed Chu Fong away, but almost didn't faint again, so she could only hug Chu Fong again. Woo! Chu Fong looked at the flames on his head and knew that he couldn't get out, so he gestured to Leon to break the glass. Leon signaled to understand, pulled out his pistol, and fired directly at the glass. Bang! The bullets spiraled out of the water and hit the glass directly. Dang! The glass shattered, and the 3 of them rushed out directly along the water. Fortunately, Claire put out the flame, and there was no fire just after everyone rushed out. However, the situation was not much better. Because the park in the central area had already sunk, the 3 of them rushed out along the water, and fell into the bottomless abyss. Just as the 3 of them were about to fall below, the steel bars in the wall cracked open as if alive, entangling the 3 of them. Call! The 3 of Chu Fong fell directly to the ground, breathing the air frantically. He almost suffocated in the water just now, and was almost swept into the abyss by the water. Roar! A beast-like roar sounded from above everyone's heads. This Curtis is not dead, he is still alive, his life is harder than a cockroach. No, it's impossible. Angela looked up at Curtis with a look of disbelief. It seems that if you don't do your best today, you won't be able to solve you. Chu Fong stood up and looked up at Curtis, who was crawling fast above his head. His eyes were firm. In an instant, the Magneto gene was activated, and a more terrifying electromagnetic force field unfolded. The surrounding metal seemed to be pulled, and it actually converged directly on Chu Fong, forming a set of metal armor. At the same time, Chu Fong also slowly floated up. All the metals in the surrounding 4 districts were shaking wildly, and the 4 districts that were about to sink were lifted up again by Chu Feng's terrifying power. Not only District 4, but District 1, District 2, even the dome trembled wildly. This time, the metal controlled by Chu Fong was no longer dozens of tons, but directly reached several thousand tons. Roar! Curtis also seemed to sense the crisis, so he shot directly on the dome and pounced on Chu Fong. With the terrifying power of his complete body, if he is attacked, he will surely die. However, Chu Fong didn't have any fear, instead he pushed Curtis, who was pounced. Boom! The entire huge area was pushed out by him as a weapon and shot Curtis directly. Boom! Curtis was directly led into the dome by the huge first area. Oh my god! Impossible! Chu Fong actually used the experimental area as a weapon. Suck! It's terrible, it's really terrible. There are thousands of tons of steel in the first district. He can control it. Is this his true strength? The mutants are terrible. Seeing that Chu Fong used the entire experimental area as a weapon to attack Curtis, Angela and Leon were both dumbfounded. As far as this area is concerned, at least it weighs several thousand tons. Such a huge volume is no different from a building. In fact, this area is a 7 or 8-story building, and it is not possible to lift it manually. However, Chu Fong pushed them out by himself and attacked them as a weapon, which was terrifying. Ow woo! Curtis was hit by the first area and wanted to run out of the first area. However, before he could run out, he was hit on the dome, pressing him down. Kakaka! The entire dome actually split open, and then wrapped it towards Curtis. Bang bang bang! At the same time, all metals such as steel bars in a zone are directly compressed inward. A large amount of cement and bricks were all shaken off and fell into the abyss. Just a huge amount of metal squeezed frantically inwards. In a short time, the metal in the entire first area actually aggregated with the dome into a huge metal sphere with a diameter of 20 meters, wrapping Curtis inside. Die! Chu Feng's words came out, the blue veins on his forehead burst, and he pinched the huge metal ball in the sky. Boom! Under the action of the terrifying electromagnetic force field, the entire metal sphere instantly doubled in size. With this terrifying pressure, no matter if there are any bulls, ghosts, snakes or gods in it, they will be instantly crushed. Tick, tick, blood slowly flowed out from the huge metal ball. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing the whole body of the G-Virus, reward 3,000 points. When Chu Fong heard the system reminder, he immediately understood that Curtis had been killed. When he heard 3,000 points, he was a little surprised, very happy. Ordinary zombies only have 10 points. This Curtis is equivalent to 300 heads, and it is indeed worth being a big boss. It's not in vain that he spent so much effort here. Now Chu Feng's points have reached 8,410 points, which is close to breaking 10,000. If he can keep killing such monsters, his level will increase quickly. But I can only think about it, the G-Virus is very precious, and not everyone can integrate it, and the whole world is just one end. Goodbye, Curtis. Chu Fong flinched at the metal ball that was directly 10 meters away. The huge metal ball fell into the bottomless abyss with Curtis's body. Not long after, Chu Fong controlled the metal to bring everyone out. Squeak! The door opened, and Claire came out. Claire, why are you here? Chu Fong was stunned the moment he saw Claire. He thought Claire would stay in the airport. But she never thought that she would come out of the building. Not only Chu Fong, but also Leon and Angela were dazed. Hee hee, you have to thank me, if it weren't for me, you would have been burned to death. Claire chuckled. Ah, you put out that flame just now. Chu Fong was stunned when he heard the words, and then he remembered that when they came out of the water, the flames outside had been extinguished. It turned out that Claire helped out in the control room on the top floor. Nonsense, or what do you think? Well, I'm not bothering you. Can you do it without me? Claire said proudly. Chu Fong even thought she was troublesome and didn't let her over. If she doesn't come, you'll all be burned inside. Well, shouldn't it be time to thank me? Okay, it's useful to you this time. Chu Fong was a little helpless. This Claire looks pretty and beautiful, gentle, but more of a strong woman. Just for her courage to charge against the zombies with a broken umbrella, Chu Fong should have known long ago that she could not be left behind. Sure enough, she still came after all. And he also saved their lives unwittingly, which is worthy of the heroine of the Resident Evil series. What does it mean to count? It's all right. Claire was very dissatisfied with what Chu Fong said and corrected it directly. Fine, that's it. Chu Fong was helpless and could only admit it. Chu Fong found that with Claire, the atmosphere always became more relaxed. Angela walked slowly to the central patio, and looked at the bottomless well. Her brother died after all. You know, we have no other choice. Seeing Angela's low mood, Chu Fong stepped forward and said. In fact, if he could, he didn't want to kill Curtis, but he had turned into a monster. They have no choice. Chu Fong hoped she would understand. I didn't mean to blame you. If it weren't for you, we would all die down there. I just feel emotional. My brother is just one of their pawns, used by others. Seeing that Chu Fong had misunderstood, Angela said slowly. From the moment her brother was injected with the G virus, she already knew the end. He has become an unconscious monster, and Chu Fong is also trying to save them. She just felt emotional. The people above control everything, and his brother is just a pawn to be used, which is sad, deplorable, and respectable. This does not exonerate Curtis, but we share his fervent hope that the tragedy of Raccoon City will not be repeated. Claire also stepped forward and comforted her. Curtis is indeed a tragic figure who deserves their sympathy. However, what he did hurt a lot of people. A sin is a sin, and it will not be expelled for so-called just reasons. No one can do harm to others in the name of justice. However, in the direction of efforts, in fact, everyone belongs to the same goal. Whatever the choice, at least they are designed to keep the tragedy of Raccoon City from happening again. Now that it's over, it's time for me to go too. Chu Fong saw that it was getting late, and his abilities had been exposed, so it was inconvenient to stay here, so he said. Well, you guys go first, I'll stay here for a while. Angela nodded to Chu Fong and said. Chu Fong nodded, turned around, and walked out. Chu Fong. Seeing that Chu Fong was about to leave, Angela couldn't hold back and shouted. Chu Fong turned back and looked at Angela's puzzled face, not understanding what else she was doing. If we have time, let's dive together again. Angela recalled the scene where Chu Fong kissed her in the pool with Chu Fong, hesitated for a while, and said. My pleasure. After Chu Fong finished speaking, he smiled at Angela and turned to leave. When did you two dive together? Claire looked at Chu Fong, and then at the shy Angela, squinting her eyes with a vigilant look on her face. You will ask, by the way, what are your plans? Chu Fong was a little helpless about Claire's curiosity. This was an accident. And after breaking up this time, I don't know when I can get together, so I said to the two of them. I just got a new assignment and have to go. Leon closed the communicator and said. As the #1 agent of the Lighthouse Country, he was naturally very busy. A helicopter stopped in the square not far away while he was talking. Apparently, this was going to pick up Leon. It seems that this new task is quite urgent. And you? Chu Fong looked at Claire again and asked. Claire. As soon as Chu Fong finished speaking, an old lady and a child were waving to Claire by the road at the entrance. And there was a car parked next to them. Needless to say, I'm here to pick up Claire. You know, someone has come to pick me up, and I'll go back to the rescue and continue to help those in need. What about you? What are your plans? Claire looked at Chu Fong puzzled and asked. She is very curious, where will people like Chu Fong go next? Not only Claire, but also Leon are very curious about this question. If possible, he hopes to cooperate with Chu Fong again, or even work together. But he also understands that he is from the Lighthouse Country, and Chu Fong is from the Kyushu Country, not from the same country. Even if Chu Fong is really willing to work for the Lighthouse, he can't be reused. Instead, he may be investigated and even tested. So he never invited Chu Fong. Me, I don't know, where there are zombies, I will go there. Chu Fong looked calm and spoke lightly. For Chu Fong, wherever zombies erupt, he will go. But this city is certainly impossible to stay any longer. He showed his great ability, whether it was the top of the lighthouse or the umbrella company who wanted to arrest him. Then can we meet again in the future? Claire looked at Chu Fong with some reluctance. She had just met someone who could make her heart move, but they were separated so quickly. By fate, Chu Fong remembered that the rescue group had something to do with Alice, and belonged to the opponent's group, indicating that they still had a chance to meet. After Chu Fong finished speaking, the magnetic field spread all over his body, and he flew straight up, waved to the crowd, and disappeared into the night sky in a blink of an eye. Time passed, and more than 2 months passed in a blink of an eye. In a hotel, Chu Fong got up, entered the bathroom and started to wash. Just turn the TV on. We have controlled the spread of the T-virus, please cooperate with all residents and isolate at home. The news broadcasts the news of the T-virus. Chu Fong smiled knowingly when he heard the words. This virus has been out of control for more than 2 months, and it would have been under control long ago. In the beginning, he still needed to run all over the lighthouse country, but now he doesn't even need to run. Basically, if he goes to 2 cities, there will be zombies in 1 city. Chu Fong felt that he couldn't kill him, and the news even said that he had already controlled it. This joke is not funny at all. Of course, the Beacon of Liberty has always been like this, and the newscasters here are all good-natured. Gollum. Puff. After Chu Fong washed up, he quickly dressed his clothes, grabbed his pistol, and stepped out. Boss, check out. Chu Fong came to the front desk and spoke to the innkeeper. Roar. A zombie jumped directly from the front desk. Boom. Without any hesitation, Chu Fong drew his gun and shot. PFF'd. The zombie was instantly headshot and collapsed. The system popped up a prompt sound directly in Chu Feng's mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Kill an ordinary zombie and get 10 points. Fortunately, Chu Fong is used to the suddenness of zombies, so he always puts the pistol on the waist where it is easiest to pull out. Otherwise, this wave might have been attacked by zombies. Alas, I wanted to have breakfast, but now it seems that I have no chance. However, at least the rent is free. Chu Fong looked at the zombie. It was the owner of this hotel. It was normal last night, but today it is a zombie. Needless to say, the T-virus has spread here. It is estimated that there is no breakfast today, but the rent does not have to be paid. Chu Fong stepped out of the door. Sure enough, the streets outside were full of stumbling zombies. Another city fell. That's what the news says, it's under control. Because of the gunshots just now, many zombies had already discovered this side. Seeing Chu Fong pushing out the door, they rushed over without any hesitation. Without any hesitation, Chu Fong opened fire directly at the headed zombie. Boom, the gunshots sounded, and the leading zombie was instantly headshot by Chu Fong. Woo, Chu Fong whistled, his fingers moved around the zombies, and the bullets moved frantically along his mind like a snake. Puff puff, the zombies that rushed up around also fell crazily. Beep beep, while Chu Fong was busy, the phone in Chu Feng's trouser pocket suddenly rang. Hey, Alice. I'm busy. Chu Fong opened the mouth while directing the bullets to harvest zombies frantically with his fingers. Busy, you big head. Do you know that the zombies are completely out of control now? Just say it. When will you be back? Alice's angry roar came from the other end of the phone, almost deafening Chu Fong. Chu Fong said 2 weeks ago that he would go back, but it turned out to be good. After so long, Chu Fong was still wandering outside. The whole lighthouse country is completely out of control. You are still busy. What are you busy doing? Killing zombies. Roar. Seeing Chu Fong distracted, a zombie suddenly rushed over. Chu Fong swept his gaze, and the bullet turned and flew back, directly piercing the zombie's head. I'm surrounded by zombies now. Chu Fong looked at the dense zombies around and said. Can't blame him for that. There is no high-speed rail in this lighthouse country, and it is not convenient to travel. The plane was banned again, and he could only drive. And the cities he encountered in the middle were almost all occupied, and he could only kill all the way. Across several states. It's not easy for him. I believe you are a ghost. You can still be surrounded by zombies with your ability. Stop in which city to kill zombies? I still don't understand you. Hurry up, don't give any reason, come back quickly, I can't hold it anymore. Quote. Alice's serious voice came from the other end of the phone. Obviously, the zombie outbreak in the whole lighthouse country is a big problem. She couldn't take it anymore. If not, she wouldn't call early in the morning to urge her. Okay, I'll go back right away, really I promise. Chu Fong heard the words and knew that he had been out for too long, and it was time to go back. Hastily promised, this time we'll not let the pigeons. Okay, then you, do. On the other end of the phone, Alice was talking and then cut off immediately. Chu Fong glanced at the phone, frowning, no signal. Chu Fong put the phone away, ready to find a place with a good signal and call back. Not long after, Chu Fong left the town and drove to Alice's base. On the way, Chu Fong tried to contact Alice many times, but all failed. No signal. Only at this time did Chu Fong realize the seriousness of the matter. Time passed, another 3 days passed in a blink of an eye, there was still no signal, and even the TV could not be received along the way, only the voices of some survivors could be heard on the radio. The towns that Chu Fong passed through were all occupied by zombies. It seemed that the lighthouse country had completely fallen. Chu Fong understands that the problem is serious and is eager to meet Alice, so the zombies encountered along the way are basically no longer cleaned up. On this day, Chu Fong crossed the Gobi, galloping all the way on the road, and suddenly received a nearby radio alert. This is KLKB, we have 7 people here, in need of emergency medical asylum. We need help, this is KLKB, can anyone hear? Can anyone help us? KLKB, why does this information feel so familiar? Chu Fong was stunned when he heard the radio prompt, and felt that this information seemed familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere before. Chu Fong thought about it for a long time, then he continued to drive. Creak. Suddenly, a house on the side of the road caught Chu Feng's attention. Chu Fong braked directly and went back a bit, and found that the house was written with the English letters of KLKB. This is the place for help mentioned on the radio just now. Chu Fong has a lot of medicines, but he doesn't mind helping by the way. So Chu Fong backed up the car, drove back, and stopped in front of the roadside house. It appears to be a repair shop with a motorcycle in front of it. Looking at the motorcycle, Chu Fong frowned, feeling a little familiar. Chu Fong stepped forward and touched the fuel tank. It was hot, and it seemed that it had just stopped for a long time. Chu Fong stepped out of the car and walked inside. Inside, crack, bang, a woman was directly handcuffed and pressed on the table, surrounded by several strong men, including a middle-aged couple. We are surrounded, we need help, can anyone hear? Who can save us, please? The old woman repeated the words on the radio with a mocking look on the locked woman's face. It works every time, Mom. A man did not expect to catch another big fish, still a mermaid, and said ciao with excitement. Turn her over, I want to see what else she brought. Another man spoke up. The woman who was handcuffed back was turned back, revealing a beautiful face. If Chu Fong was here, he would definitely find out that this woman was none other than Alice, who had been separated for many days. I haven't seen each other for 2 months. At this time, Alice is quite haggard. What are you strapped to under? Baby. With a wretched expression on his face, the man held Alice's machete and moved it to Alice's belt. He was about to open the belt and do something illegal. Is anyone here? Just when these people were about to attack Alice, Chu Feng's call came from outside the door. Mom, someone's been fooled again. Hearing Chu Feng's voice, the gangsters who were going to act against Alice were Yisho and said, their luck is really good today, and the second idiot came so quickly. I really thought someone here needed help. But I don't know, in fact, this is all a trap set up by their family. The purpose is to attract passers-by and rob. The men naturally looked for opportunities to kill, and the women stayed for their sons to play with. Hurry up and hide, tie this woman up, if she dares to make a sound, she will shoot. The old woman was also ruthless. Seeing that someone was looking for it again, she ordered her 3 sons directly. Obviously, this is another big deal. However, she was also cautious, worried that Alice would make a noise and warn others, so she asked her sons and husbands to take Alice to the back and tie it up. After a while, Alice was escorted to the back room. Several people tied their feet and tied their hands, and they were extremely skilled. Obviously, they had done this a lot during this period of time. Soon, Alice was tied to the chair by them. Gag her mouth. The old woman saw that Alice was tightly bound, but she was still worried, and took a rag and stuffed it into Alice's mouth. Woo! Just as Alice was about to speak, she was blocked and could only make a faint whine. Anyone there? At this time, Chu Feng's voice was even closer. It's coming, fast. The old man heard Chu Feng's voice getting closer, and quickly reminded. Understood. Don't worry, look at me. The old woman hurriedly returned to the room just now, picked up the fake doll that had fallen from the ground, wrapped it in cloth, disguised as an injured child and held it in her arms. And she hurriedly sat back in the chair and began to brew her emotions. The originally grim face quickly turned into a pitiful look, as if she was really a sick child, and she had nowhere to seek medical treatment. And her 3 sons also divided to go to another room, preparing to have a 3-pack copy later. Is anyone here? Holding a pistol, Chu Fong walked slowly in the dark house, ready to deal with a sudden zombie attack. But he didn't know that someone had already set up a pocket array in front of him, waiting for a pedestrian like him to be alone. Or someone who loves to come to help. Woo! Not long after, Chu Fong heard a woman's sad sobbing coming from the front. Chu Fong stepped into the door and saw an old woman on the opposite side crying with her back to him. The old woman slowly turned her head back when she heard the voice. Her poor child was dying and she was helpless. She performed wonderfully and even the tears came down. Her acting was perfect. It's a pity that the old woman is not an actress. Chu Fong narrowed his eyes when he saw the old woman's familiar face, and suddenly remembered it in combination with the surrounding environment. Isn't this the beginning of Resident Evil 3? The old woman pretended to be a rescuer and set up traps with her wife and gangsters to kill passers-by. If he remembered correctly, these guys still kept a bunch of zombie dogs in the basement. Alice was subdued just because she was careless and put down her weapon to pick up the child, and was almost killed. Now that the old woman has deceived him, do you really think he is stupid? My child, please, please, please save my child. The old woman still didn't know that her plan had been discovered, and she still performed it to the fullest. Holding the fake child, he got up and walked towards Chu Fong. Faced with a poor old woman holding a child, most people will be unprepared and put down their guns to pick up the child. She can take the opportunity to take out the gun hidden under the lining to subdue the other party. Alice was subdued by her move just now. Now she does the same, repeating the old trick. No, it's Chu Fong. Don't be fooled, it's a trap. At this time, Alice was in the cubicle, and through the shelf, she finally saw the person coming. Isn't that the Chu Fong that she was thinking about day and night? Alice secretly thought that it was not good and wanted to open her mouth to remind her, but her mouth was blocked, so she could only whimper. She struggled hard, making the chair creak and wobble. Crack! When the old man saw that Alice was dishonest, he loaded the bullet and put it on Alice's head. The meaning is obvious. If you continue to make noise, he will shoot. The other gangsters are also starting to get ready for a gunfight. When Chu Fong heard the movement, he turned to look at the back room. Ah, my poor child. He has been sick for many days. Kind-hearted person, can you help my child? The old woman saw that Chu Fong was attracted by the voice and worried that Chu Fong saw an ambush. Once Chu Fong knew of their plan, and she failed to disarm Chu Fong, the two sides went to war. It would be dangerous. Without hesitation, the old woman directly transformed herself into a performer and continued to perform, trying to attract Chu Feng's attention. And the pace of her approaching Chu Fong Cafe is getting faster and faster, like a woman worried about her child, seeing the hope of saving her life, and can't wait to let Chu Fong see what his child is sick. Sure. Chu Fong looked at the rushing old woman, the corners of his mouth rose, and he said with a smile. Ah, that's very nice, you're such a good man. Seeing that Chu Fong didn't notice, the old woman turned from sadness to joy, and handed the fake child covered in her arms to Chu Fong. And she had already loaded the shotgun secretly, just waiting for Chu Fong to pick up the child. Her shotgun suddenly opened fire behind the wrap. As a woman, she will keep it for her son to play with, and as a man, she does not need to live, as long as the other party's supplies are enough. Chu Fong didn't seem to know that he was going to be fooled, but he slowly lowered the muzzle of the gun. Alice inside saw that Chu Fong was about to be fooled, and her forehead was sweating, and she was so anxious that if it wasn't for the gun, but also tied tightly, she would have rushed out long ago. Done. Unexpectedly long time no see, this time Chu Fong will be deceived by this group of thieves. Alice was worried, but the old fools next to her were happy. Sure enough, 2 months after the apocalypse began, this person is such a liar. Just deceived Alice, but another Oriental person was fooled. Seeing that the car is very luxurious outside, this wave has made a lot of money. Just when Alice thought that Chu Fong was going to be fooled and worried, the thieves around thought that the plan had succeeded and were ready to receive Chu Feng's supplies. Chu Fong, however, did not hesitate, and at the moment when the old woman thought he was about to put down the gun, he suddenly raised the gun and fired directly. Bang! The gunshots sounded, and the old woman's originally smiling face froze instantly. She widened her eyes in disbelief. She didn't understand her seamless trap. Seeing that the other party was about to be fooled, why did the other party suddenly open fire? Where did she act wrong? Where did she make a flaw and reveal her tricks? But she will never know. Boom! The old woman fell, and the dummy in her hand and the shotgun in her hand that was ready to fire on Chu Fong also fell to the ground. Boom! In an instant, the old man in ambush and their gangster sons were all dumbfounded. Looking at the room outside, the fallen old woman looked shocked and incredulous. They couldn't believe that the trap of trying bailing in the past suddenly failed. Chu Fong was clearly fooled, but the moment he put down the gun, he suddenly raised the gun and shot the old woman to death. This is not scientific. Where is the problem? How did Chu Fong see the flaw? Not only them, but Alice, who thought she knew Chu Fong, was stunned. She widened her beautiful eyes with a look of astonishment and surprise on her face. She never thought that Chu Fong was so clever, that he saw the trap of this gang of thieves, and even came up with a plan. Deliberately suppressing the gun's muzzle to make the old woman think she succeeded in her conspiracy, and then simply kill her with one shot. Perfect, simply perfect. Mom, asshole, I killed you. After a short period of days, several thugs let out a wailing, one left and one right, and rushed out of the rooms on both sides with guns. Shooting at Chu Fong with a gun, vowing to kill Chu Fong directly. Boom! The gunshot sounded, and a bullet carrying a hot tail flame was sent from the muzzle, spinning at a high speed and shot towards Chu Fong. If it were an ordinary person, it would immediately be killed by the gun. But unfortunately, they met Chu Fong. It is also Chu Fong, who has advanced to the 3rd rank of Magneto's ability. Chu Fong just glanced at the bullet. The ballistic of the bullet originally shot at Chu Fong was instantly changed, and it was directly deflected and shot at a gangster on the other side. Puff! The bullet went straight through the fool's body. Brother, why? Why? The gangster stared at the big brother who shot the gun, his eyes wide in disbelief. Don't they want to avenge their mother? Why would his eldest brother fire at him? What the hell? Could it be that the eldest brother has always been jealous of the more maternal love he received? Otherwise, what would he do if he didn't attack Chu Fong? Boom! With an unbelievable look, the gangster was unwilling to fall. Eddie, brother, what are you doing? Why did you kill the 3rd brother? The man next to the gangster saw that the 3rd brother was shot and killed by the eldest brother. However, his 3rd brother Eddie was no longer breathing. He raised his head and glared at his eldest brother with a puzzled look on his face, not understanding why his eldest brother would fire at his younger brother. I don't know, I'm targeting him, it's him. It must be the ghost of this Oriental. I want you to die. The boss was also stunned. He originally wanted to shoot Chu Fong to avenge his mother, but he never thought that he would shoot his little brother by mistake. In the face of his second brother's questioning, he let out a painful wailing. Instead, he poured all his anger on Chu Fong. If it wasn't for Chu Fong, how could he accidentally kill his little brother? Today, he will turn Chu Fong into a beehive to avenge his younger brother Eddie and his mother. The gunshots sounded frantically, and a large number of bullets poured out, as if they didn't want money, and shot Chu Fong directly. Facing these bullets, Chu Fong had no fear at all. In front of him, Magneto, killing him with metal bullets is really naive and ridiculous. Chu Feng's thoughts moved, and those bullets all shot at another gangster behind Chu Fong. Brother, you are so cruel. If I die, you don't want to live. The second brother is angry. Good you big brother, you killed the third brother Eddie, and you still want to kill me. If you don't talk about brotherhood, don't blame him for being unrighteous. Before the second brother died, he raised his gun and shot the eldest brother. This time Chu Fong didn't control the bullets, and those bullets shot at the boss. Boom. After all, the two robber brothers killed each other and fell to the ground. The old man in the house was dumbfounded, and he never thought that the trap for the survivors would suddenly be seen through by Chu Fong. And his three sons suddenly strife and shoot each other. He felt like his whole life was falling apart. Alice, why are you here? Chu Fong stepped over the eldest corpse, walked slowly into the house, and was stunned when he saw Alice. It was only because of the plot that he knew that this group of people were not good people, and if he wanted to kill him, he would do it first. I didn't expect to see Alice here. Isn't she defending at the base? How did she come here? Chu Fong thought of the motorcycle outside the door, and instantly knew that it was Alice's motorcycle. No wonder it was so familiar. Woo! Alice's mouth was gagged and she wanted to speak, but she could only make a whimpering sound. Chu Fong couldn't listen to what she was saying at all. Crack! Don't come here, I'll kill her if you come again. You know each other. That's better, you don't want her dead. The old man came back to his senses, hurriedly aimed the muzzle at Alice's head, and threatened Chu Fong. If Chu Fong and Alice don't know each other, he might use Alice as a hostage to no avail. But now that Chu Fong knew this woman, it was much easier. Although he didn't understand why his two sons suddenly shot at each other, the weirdness of this matter only started after meeting the Oriental man in front of him. He didn't believe it if he said it had nothing to do with Chu Fong and killed him. Fortunately, Chu Fong knew this woman, so he could threaten Chu Fong with Alice. You dare threaten me? Chu Fong looked at the old man with a cold expression. Chu Fong hated others threatening him the most in his life, especially threatening him with people he cared about. Yes, boy, I don't care what you did to turn my son against me, but you are dead. Put down your weapon or I'll shoot her. The old man looked at Chu Fong fiercely and threatened. He has made up his mind, Chu Fong must die. As long as Chu Fong put down his gun, he did not hesitate to fire on Chu Fong, killing him and avenging his wife and children. However, the scene of Chu Fong throwing away the pistol in the old man's expectation did not happen. Chu Fong not only did not put down the gun, but also looked at the old man with a mocking expression and said, "Really? Then you shoot." Threatening him with a metal weapon, the Doomsday Magneto, is ridiculous. Shoot if you can. I really thought that Chu Fong was scared. You think I dare not? The old man was completely irritated by Chu Feng's mocking tone, thinking of the death of his wife and children just now, so excited that he actually pulled the trigger directly at Alice. Boom! Gunshots sounded. The imagined scene of Alice being shot in the head did not happen. Instead, the old man was shot in the head by his own gun. After he opened fire, the bullet did not shoot from the muzzle as before, but instead penetrated the gun hull upside down and shot back on his forehead. The old man opened his mouth wide, his eyes widened, his face was unbelievable, and he couldn't rest his eyes. He never thought that his gun would explode, giving him a reverse kill. So far, all the robbers have been solved by Chu Fong. Chu Fong did not hesitate, stepped forward, took out a knife and cut all the ropes that bound Alice. Crack! With the thought of Chu Fong, the handcuffs that locked Alice fell off automatically. Chu Fong. Alice broke free from the shackles, and without hesitation, threw herself into Chu Feng's arms. It's all right, it's all right. Chu Fong hugged Alice and comforted her softly. He can also understand that he has just been caught by the gangsters, and that he is excited by these shocks and crimes. Chu Fong did not expect to meet Alice on the way. By the way, aren't you at the base? Why are you here? Chu Fong saw that Alice's mood was calmer, and then asked. It has been many days since the last call. Chu Fong remembered that Alice and Jill and others established an opponents' meeting to expose the experiments of the top executives of the Lighthouse State and the Umbrella Company in Raccoon City. After the zombie crisis broke out, Chu Fong also contacted Alice. Remember, Alice said they built a base in the city to defend against zombies. It stands to reason that she should be in the base. Why did she come here? It was also tied up by these robbers to set traps. If Chu Fong didn't find out, it would be dangerous. What else? You're gone for a few months. You said you were coming back 2 weeks ago, but no one was there. A few days ago, our base was breached, and we couldn't get in touch with you. We organized a convoy and went straight to your side, hoping to meet you on the road. I finally see you now. Chu Fong, why are you only here now? Alice saw Chu Feng's question, raised her pink fist and greeted Chu Fong. While hammering and saying grievances. She feels wronged. You are too embarrassed to say it. You said 2 weeks ago that you would come back, but the result was good, and no one has been seen. Just a few days ago, the communication with Chu Fong was interrupted, and the next day it was broken by zombies. There was no other way but to load some of the supplies into the truck and break through. After the breakout, the convoy did not know where to go. In order not to get separated from Chu Fong, Alice asked the convoy to start straight along the town where Chu Fong interrupted last time. In this way, there is at least a great chance to meet halfway. No, she came out to collect supplies this time, and ended up encountering this robber. A moment of kindness, plus carelessness, was tricked. It's also thanks to Chu Feng's sudden appearance, otherwise I don't know what to do. Chu Fong asked Alice Hammer not to resist. After a long time, Alice Hammer was tired, and once again threw herself into Chu Feng's arms and kissed Chu Fong. Woohoo! Chu Fong didn't expect that Alice was so proactive and unprepared that she had not seen her for so long, and was kissed straight. Chu Fong felt good and closed his eyes. Wong wong wong. Just when Chu Fong and Alice were kissing each other, a huge dog barked came from a gap in the next room. This is not a safe place, we will find a safe place to talk in detail at night. Chu Fong was awakened by the dog, knowing that there was a zombie dog behind him that needed to be dealt with, and said. The smell in this repair shop was not good, and there were still corpses around. Chu Fong didn't want to work in such a place. Alice nodded obediently. She also understood that she was too excited. There are corpses all around, which is really not a good place to do things, so I let go of Chu Fong. Not long after, Alice took back her confiscated pistol, Damascus knife and various weapons, and then went to the gap with Chu Fong to investigate. Alas, poor man. Chu Fong sighed when he saw that there were really 3 zombie dogs inside, and there were several wrecks beside him. Needless to say, it must be the kind-hearted people who passed by them before who wanted to help, but they were killed by these robbers, who took the supplies and threw them in to feed the zombie dogs. I won't go into detail about how ruthless the robbers of this family are. It's only been 2 months since the end of the day, and it's already so crazy, I don't know what will happen in the future. Wong wong wong. I think it was the death of the robber just now, and the smell of blood attracted them, so the zombie dog is very restless now, and keeps jumping up while barking, trying to bite Chu Fong and Alice. Obviously these 3 zombie dogs took Chu Fong and Alice as food. Boom! Chu Fong directly picked up the pistol and fired directly at the zombie dog below. Puff! The bullet hit the first zombie dog, did not stop, turned a corner and shot at the second one. Puff! After the bullet penetrated the second zombie dog, it still did not stop, and continued to shoot at the third one. PFF'd. Bang bang bang. The 3 zombie dogs were headshot by Chu Fong and fell one after another. The system prompt sounded directly in Chu Feng's mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host, kill an enhanced zombie dog and get 30 points. Ding. Congratulations to the host, kill an enhanced zombie dog and get 30 points. Ding. Congratulations to the host, kill an enhanced zombie dog and get 30 points. As the 3 beeps sounded, Chu Feng's points rose by another 90 points. Hearing the system prompt, Chu Fong was stunned. Under normal circumstances, killing a zombie dog is 20 points. Unexpectedly, these 3 zombie dogs turned out to be 30 points each, which is a lot more. However, when Chu Fong saw the corpses, he was stunned. Zombie dogs will also become stronger. These zombie dogs continue to eat and become stronger, so the points obtained by killing them will also increase. Let's go. After Chu Fong killed the zombie dog, he turned and walked out. Alice also followed Chu Fong and left the KLKB repair shop. Dee, Alice, where are you? We found a motel, it looks safe and ready to camp inside, please answer. Repeat. Alice, where are you? We found a motel, it looks safe and ready to camp inside, please answer. Just as Chu Fong and Alice left KLKB, a familiar voice came from the walkie-talkie on the front of Alice's car. This voice Chu Fong was very familiar with. It was the voice of Claire, who had not seen him for several months. Chu Fong did not expect that after parting, he would hear her voice in this situation. It seems that she is not only in the team, but also has a low position. But thinking about it makes me wonder. Alice and Jill created the opposition together, and the Rescue Association joined by Claire is also a branch of the opposition. It's not surprising that they are together. Obviously, they found a motel not far from the road, and it was difficult to find a place to repair in the desert. They were worried that they would go too far and have no place to repair at night, so they chose to camp in advance. And Alice didn't answer, which made her a little worried, so she kept repeating. "I'm Alice, receive." Alice picked up the walkie-talkie and spoke slowly. "Alice, what happened to you just now? Why haven't you replied?" Claire's worried voice came over the walkie-talkie. Apparently it wasn't the first time she called Alice. "It's just that I haven't been able to get in touch with Alice. I don't understand what happened on Alice's side. There was a little accident just now, but it's resolved. I just found a friend, and I'll go over now, it's over." Alice pressed the call button and spoke slowly. Now that the crisis has been lifted, Alice feels that there is no need to bring it up, so she just ignores what happened just now. She came out to explore the way and collect supplies, so she knew the way well. When she first came out, she did see a separate motel not far down the road. So she knew the location and was ready to meet the convoy in the past. "Friend, well, come here quickly, it's over." Claire's puzzled voice came from the walkie-talkie, and then it turned off. Clearly, Claire was used to Alice finding someone. There are several people on her side, and one more person doesn't care at all. Of course, if she knew that this person was Chu Fong, it would probably be different. "Come on." The convoy intends to camp at a motel along the way. Alice ended the call and looked back at Chu Fong. "Say it." Alice starts the motorcycle directly. And Chu Fong also stepped into the sports car. Boom boom boom. The sports car started and followed Alice all the way. Normal people would not choose sports cars in the end times. After all, this thing consumes a lot of fuel, makes a lot of noise, and has a small interior space. There's almost no practicality other than being used for coercion. But it's different for Chu Fong. He has already spent 2,000 points to upgrade the storage space again. Now Chu Fong has a storage space of 1,000 cubic meters, a huge space of 10 meters in length, width and height. There is no problem in parking trucks, and he doesn't care about the actual space at all. In front of the Desert Boat Motel, 5 cars were parked outside. It seems quiet. On the roof of the car, Jill took a telescope and looked at the outside of the entire hotel, and finally came to a conclusion. After not seeing her for a few months, Jill is still familiar with the blue vest and the short and medium bob, which makes her more capable and more heroic. Yes, isn't that the case every time? Hippie LJ has reservations about the safety of Jill's claims. After all, they walked all the way, and when they didn't look quiet, they didn't know what ghosts were waiting for them after they entered. "Claire, the hotel seems to be safe, we're going in." Jill was also the first sister of the policewomen, and she had no fear at all and made a decision directly. "Turn on the walkie-talkie and notify Claire." "Okay, be careful." Claire also understood that Jill's decision, unless Alice was there, no one could stop her. "So I didn't object, but I still told her to be careful. Zombies can bite or bite regardless of whether you are beautiful or not. Come on, we're at work." Gil was satisfied that Claire didn't object, slapped LJ and jumped out of the car. It is very lucky to be able to find a motel in the desert that surrounds it for hundreds of miles. She didn't want to sleep outside the desert tonight. Boom boom boom. Jill did not hesitate and drove directly to the motel with LJ. Squeak. After entering the motel, the car stopped directly. The door opened, Jill stepped out of his high-heeled police boots, and pulled out his pistol for warning. Although his mouth is carefree, in fact, Jill is very careful every time he explores the road. They don't have virus serum, and if they get bitten, it's game over. Crack. The same is true of LJ, don't look at him laughing and joking all day, but in fact he is also very cautious. The two quickly entered the hotel. The entire hotel was dead silent, except for the messy items, there was not a single living person. No zombies were seen. You go over there, I'll go over here. Jill took a look. The motel was not small, and it seemed that there was no danger, so he chose to split up. LJ's luck has always been good, and her strength is tough enough, so she should be fine. LJ nodded, and the two separated directly from left to right and began to explore the motel. Outside the motel, Claire has been watching Jill and LJ enter the motel with binoculars from a distance. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the roar of a car came from a distance behind him. A sports car and a motorcycle quickly drove towards the team. What the hell? Everyone pay attention, there are unknown vehicles approaching. Otto looked suspiciously at the sports car galloping in the distance. Without hesitation, he warned directly. The people in the car became vigilant one after another. This is the end of the world, and the people you meet are not necessarily good people, and you still need to be vigilant. Claire also heard the sound, picked up the binoculars and looked at it. She was stunned. Although the reflection of the glass in the sun can't see the person inside the sports car, Alice in front of the sports car is very easy to identify. Don't be nervous, it's Alice. Seeing Alice, Claire jumped off the front of the convoy and comforted her. Claire looked at the sports car galloping in the distance and didn't mean to be happy, but frowned. She didn't understand how Alice could bring back such an arrogant person. What you have to do in the end is to keep a low profile, and then keep a low profile, try not to make too much noise to attract zombies. This person is very good. If you make a sports car, you can hear the roar of the accelerator for a few miles. If you let such a person follow you, it will be troublesome in the future. When I heard that Alice was back, everyone's original nervousness eased. But they were more curious about the person Alice brought back. Survivors were clinging to the glass windows one after another, wanting to see who came this time. Such a big reaction. Sports cars and motorcycles are very fast, and they are approaching in a blink of an eye. Alice, I know you've always done your own way, but what do you think you brought back? It's. Seeing that Alice stopped the car, Claire stepped forward directly, akimbo angrily. This team is not your one-man team, Alice. You can do whatever you want on weekdays, but you can't bring everyone back. A roar of the accelerator can be heard for several miles. Is it because the zombies can't hear it? Did what? Chu Fong opened the city gate and smiled at Claire. Chu Fong. The moment Claire saw Chu Fong, the whole person was dumbfounded. She never imagined that the person whose accelerator was shaking was Chu Fong, who had been separated for more than 2 months. Immediately stunned. When the apocalypse came, she thought that she would never have the chance to see Chu Fong again in her life, but she never thought that Chu Fong would suddenly appear 2 months after the apocalypse. Of course it's me, what's the matter, I'm not welcome. Chu Fong looked at Claire's anger and teased. It's really you, it's really nice, I thought I'd never see you again, woo woo. Claire was very excited when she saw Chu Fong, thinking about the difficulties during this time. She even forgot about everything around her. It's all right, didn't I come to see you? I said, we are very destined. Seeing Claire crying sadly, Chu Fong patted her shoulder and comforted her. Chu Fong, can you explain, what is your situation? For a moment, Alice next to her was completely dumbfounded, and she straightened her face when she reacted, looking at Chu Fong with a murderous look and gritted her teeth. I originally wanted to open a room with you tonight, but as soon as you came, you hugged the old lady and sister. It's a long story. Claire didn't notice Alice's face, but Chu Fong saw it. This woman seems to be jealous, which is not a good sign, so she chooses to avoid it. Want to prevaricate the past. Claire, you know him, why haven't I heard you mention him? Seeing that she couldn't find a breakthrough on Chu Feng's side, Alice quickly moved to Claire. She wants to know, what happened between Chu Fong and Claire. Oh, it's a long story indeed, and even if it were, you wouldn't believe it. Actually, Chu Fong is not an ordinary person, but a mutant. I didn't expect him to come to me in person. I met Chu Fong when we were at the airport. At that time, zombies broke out. We fought zombies together, exposed Will pharmaceuticals, and dealt with G virus together. Alice, you don't know, I didn't know his ability at the time. I was holding an umbrella to protect him. This guy was too bad, he didn't even say it, he kept hiding behind me for my protection. Quote. Claire was so happy to see Chu Fong, her mouth couldn't stop at all, and she gestured as she spoke. I didn't see Alice's face getting more and more gloomy next to me. Chu Fong, you have been through so much, why have I never heard of you? You came here to find her. Alice stared at Chu Fong and said mockingly. Good you Chu Fong, with all your strength, you deliberately hide behind a girl, this is obviously impure motive. Even her abilities are revealed to the bottom of the sky, do you think she is beautiful and like her? You also fought zombies together, exposed Will Pharmaceuticals together, and dealt with G-Virus together. More importantly, the two of them had gone through so much together, yet they didn't even mention it to her. The keen Alice's eyes glanced back and forth on Claire and Chu Fong. Chu Feng's scalp felt numb from Alice's sight. Claire is beautiful, cheerful, gentle and strong, and it seems that all the optimistic qualities can be found in her. Such a girl, Chu Fong, said it was fake that she didn't feel anything. Seeing Alice like this, Chu Fong was reminded of the scene where he almost kissed Claire in the airport, and he couldn't help feeling a little guilty. After seeing Chu Feng's expression, Alice was even more certain that the two must have some serious relationship. In an instant, the atmosphere at the scene became solemn. Why, didn't you just meet today? Although Claire is cheerful, she is also a keen woman, and she quickly sensed that the atmosphere was wrong. He looked at Chu Fong and then at Alice, with a puzzled look on his face. What Alice said earlier was to explore the way and collect supplies by the way. She thought that Alice met Chu Fong for the first time outside. Now it seems that the two know each other. And also very familiar. Of course, we've known each other for a long time. Alice was originally a domineering Valkyrie, and she was still very strong on Chu Fong. She said the word, very early, with particular emphasis, as if she was declaring some sovereignty. Really, Chu Fong, why didn't I hear you mention Alice? When Claire heard the words, she looked directly at Alice, and a fiery spark erupted. Claire regretted being separated from Chu Fong last time. For more than 2 months, she had secretly swore that if she could meet Chu Fong again, she would never let go again. She wants to boldly pursue her own happiness. So she felt very unhappy after Alice's sworn words of sovereignty, stared at Alice and asked Chu Fong. Say, talk about your sister, talk about it. Look at you, if you don't talk about it, you're already so angry, and it's going to turn the world upside down. Isn't this uncomfortable? Chu Fong was about to scold his mother. Let him say, what did he say? If you don't say it, it's already incompatible, and if you say it, it won't turn the sky upside down. Cough cough. What about Officer Jill? Why haven't I seen her for so long? Chu Fong is not stupid. Now that the second daughter is angry, everything he says is wrong. In this case, there is no other way but to use the method of diverting attention. Thinking of Jill, Chu Fong seemed to have found a life-saving straw, and immediately changed the subject. Jill, she and LJ went into the Desert Boat Motel to investigate, Do you know Jill? Upon hearing this, Claire spoke subconsciously. Claire, who reacted after that, was a little suspicious. She was very puzzled. How did Chu Fong know the beauties in the team? This is not a good sign. Not good. There are lurkers in this hotel, and Jill is in danger. When Chu Fong heard the words, he finally remembered. There are zombie lurkers in this motel. These zombies are very different from ordinary zombies. Generally, when a zombie sees a person, it basically pounces directly on it. But this kind of zombie will slowly approach, and then look for opportunities to attack. According to the normal development of the plot, it should be the Special Forces Carlos and LJ who went in together. But Carlos died in Raccoon City, so not here for now. At this time, if it is Jill to go in, it is dangerous. After that, Chu Fong didn't hesitate, got back into the car and rushed towards the motel. Although Chu Fong felt that the person being attacked was most likely LJ, Chu Fong still directly regarded this as Jill's encounter. Because he really didn't want to face Alice and Claire's battlefield without gunpowder. Woman, it's really scary. Ah, lurkers, how do you know that? Alice and Claire were stunned when they heard the words, but as expected, their attention was diverted, and they immediately focused on the Jill crisis. Immediately followed. Inside the motel. Although it is daytime, the passage is tightly closed, so it is very dark, and it is almost difficult to see the scene ahead. But it was not difficult for Jill. She took out the flashlight directly from her pocket, turned it on, and continued to walk forward. Kakaka. Not long after, Jill came to the door of the first room. Jill twisted the door handle, but couldn't turn, so he ignored this room and continued to walk. There are many rooms in the motel, and after a while, Jill came to the door of another room. Squeak. Jill gave a slight twist, and the door opened. Apparently, the room was not locked. Jill opened the door carefully and began to probe. There was clearly a zombie behind the bed, but the zombie didn't rush up like a normal zombie, instead it was lurking with its body crawling, waiting for an opportunity. There are not many zombies with such a hint of wisdom. So Jill didn't think that the zombies would lie behind the bed waiting for a chance, so he thought the room was safe. Roar. Just when Jill breathed a sigh of relief, a zombie suddenly sprang out from the corridor behind her that was sure there were no zombies, pounced on her, opened her mouth and bit her neck. Yeah, Jill exclaimed and was knocked directly into the room. As expected of a police flower, Jill reacted very quickly, and directly put his arm across the neck of the zombie, trying not to let the zombie's bloody mouth approach. Roar. However, this zombie was transformed by a soldier, and its strength is stronger than that of ordinary zombies. Jill couldn't even push him away. Jill had no choice but to fire at the zombie's feet. Bang bang bang. After several consecutive shots, the zombie's leg bone was finally broken. The zombie could not balance, and finally fell down, and the half-coagulated blood splattered on the ground. Jill took the opportunity to shoot him. Call. Jill finally let out a breath after killing the zombies and sat down on the bed. When the lurking female zombie saw it, she quietly and slowly stood up from Jill's back, preparing to sneak attack from behind when Jill was unprepared. When Chu Fong, who was driving, heard the gunshots, he knew that the battle in the hotel had begun. But it's hard to tell Jill's location from the sound of gunfire alone. But this can't stop Chu Fong. Chu Fong closed his eyes directly, and in an instant, the real world disappeared. What he saw was a world composed of countless gravitational forces, electromagnetic waves, and various spectral energies. According to the human body heat radiation, Chu Fong quickly sensed Jill's position. Of course, zombies have no body temperature, so they cannot be sensed by heat. But it is precisely because of this that Chu Fong can identify zombies and humans. Chu Fong saw that there was a gravitational change behind Jill, and quietly approached behind Jill. That thing only has gravitational fluctuations and no thermal energy radiation, so it must be a lurker. Boom boom boom. Seeing that the lurker was approaching, but Jill didn't notice it, Chu Fong didn't have time to think about it, he stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, accelerated frantically, and rushed towards the lurker. Roar. The lurker saw that the opportunity was coming, and without hesitation, he rushed directly to Jill's back. Jill heard the voice behind him, and it was too late to turn back to defend. If you are attacked by this zombie, you will inevitably be bitten by the zombies frantically. Just at the time of Jill's crisis, the wall on the side suddenly burst open. A sports car directly slammed into the wall and window and slammed into the zombies that rushed up. The zombie didn't understand what was going on, and was knocked into the wall in an instant, unable to move. What? How is this possible? A car accident. For a moment, Jill was stunned, his mouth opened slightly, his beautiful eyes widened, and his face was unbelievable. 0. What just happened? Was she involved in a car accident? But this is a hotel in the desert. It's not on the side of the highway. Where did this sports car come from, and it crashed into it? Could it be that this sports car drove more than a mile all the way from the highway, and then crashed here? And the zombie that was going to attack her just hit the wall. At this moment, Jill didn't know how to thank the car accident for appearing in time and slammed the zombie into the wall. You should be thankful that you were lucky and didn't hit the wall in a car accident. What is the probability that a car accident can happen in a motel that is off the highway, and the car accident happens to hit a zombie that is going to attack her? It is estimated that the probability will not be greater than 0, which is exactly what she does not understand. Boom. The door was kicked open, and a familiar figure walked out. Chu Fong. Seeing Chu Fang's familiar oriental face, Jill was stunned. She never thought that Chu Fong, who had been separated for a few months, would suddenly break through the wall and save her when she was most in danger. It is estimated that ordinary people will never have the opportunity to encounter such an experience in their lifetime. Looking at the familiar figure, I thought that Chu Fong had just hit the wall desperately in order to save her. At this moment, Jill's gaze towards Chu Fong was full of emotion. Boom! Chu Fong drew the gun and shot the lurker in the head. Then he turned around and smiled at Jill. Of course it's me. Why don't you recognize me? Officer Jill. With the headshot of the zombie, a system prompt sounded in Chu Feng's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host, kill a lurker zombie and get 30 points. Chu Fong was stunned when he heard the prompt. He didn't expect this zombie to be so valuable. All caught up with the enhanced zombie dog. It seems that rare zombies are also better than rare zombies. If it has always been such a zombie, it will be 3 times easier for him to upgrade. But that can only be thought. Chu Fong, it's great that you're finally back. Surprised Jill, seeing the real Chu Fong, wanted to come up to chat with Chu Fong. However, he just fired a lot of shots at the soldier's zombie feet, and the blood flowed to the ground, making the floor very slippery. Jill stepped on the blood, slipped, and fell directly to Chu Fong. This accident came too quickly. Chu Fong didn't expect it at all, and subconsciously reached out to help. However, the result was that they both fell on the bed, and by coincidence, the two just happened to kiss each other. Woo! At this moment, Jill was stunned, and Chu Fong was also stunned. The two looked at each other at such a close distance, their pupils dilated, and their faces were unbelievable. Kissed by Chu Fong? No, I actually kissed Chu Fong. My God, how could this be? Boom! For a moment, Jill's mind roared, as if countless thunders exploded in his mind. Although she is a police flower, she has many suitors, but none of her outstanding ones are attracted to her. Coupled with her cold personality, concise and capable, and strong strength, no one in the police station can overwhelm her, let alone chase her. So she doesn't even have a boyfriend at all, let alone being kissed. Now, she actually took the initiative to kiss a man, which was unprecedented, causing her always cold brain to crash. Bang! Officer Jill, didn't you? Just when the two were in a daze, the door was pushed open, and Alice rushed in anxiously. I thought the two were fighting zombies, but when she saw the two kissing together, Alice was stunned. How is that possible? Why did Chu Fong kiss Jill? Could it be that they have feelings? Also, if there is nothing between the two, how could Chu Fong care so much and even drive into the wall for her? Chu Fong, how many things are you hiding from me? Alice only felt her mind roaring, and all kinds of thoughts popped up in her mind crazily. What's wrong with you, Alice? Chu Fong and the others. Claire came one step later than Alice, and she looked puzzled when she saw Alice standing blankly at the door. Looking up, the whole person is also stupid. She had just watched Alice react so much and thought Alice was a competitor. However, she never thought that this Jill was. Alice, Claire, would you believe me if I said it was an accident? Only then did Chu Fong react, and he turned to explain to Alice and Claire. This time it's really not that he wants to hide anything, in fact, he and Jill are really nothing, this is an accident, it's really an accident. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.